sure how it always works out like this, but I feel like I always have you on. We got like a contentious hardware discussion to be had about the state of the gaming industry. But that's just how it is. That's just how it is.
And I love it. I'm excited. I have thoughts about this. Partly because we're bringing up an old conversation from like a decade ago, basically. But for new, fun, weird ways.
Yeah. And we will get to that in a minute here on the RageSelect podcast, right here on RageSelect. I'm Jeff.
Hi, Bryce.
Bryce, what have you been up to recently? Have you been doing anything cool?
You know what? I had a great experience. I talked about this on my Marble stream, but a few weeks ago, I got to drive around the Circuit of the Americas racetrack that we have here in Austin.
Oh, yeah. You told me about that. How was it?
It was a blast. Oh, my God. It was a blast. It's like a big F1, circuit. The World Endurance Championship was there, and they were doing the Lone Star Le Mans. Yahoo! And
I love that Texas continues the tradition of being like, we're going to have our own Circuit of the Americas. We're going to have our own Le Mans. This is Texas, and we got to have all our own things right here.
And so they had a parade lap where, they let you go out and do a lap on whatever car you have. And it was a blast. I took my little Civic. I have my 2012 Civic. It is not a Type R. It is not anything special. And it was fun to gun it down the straight and go up the hill the first turn, and you go up like a roller coaster, basically. And it was a blast because my car is not very fast. There were some people out there. There were a whole thing of Lamborghinis. If you had a Lamborghini, you got to go to the front of the fucking line for this whole thing.
Ooh, just speed pass owners.
Absolutely. And so I with my little commuter car, didn't really have any dangers of like spinning out or fucking up. It was dry that day, so I could just kind of send it, and it was a blast.
What I was curious about is how far between cars. Like, would they let another car start while you were in the middle of it, or did you all guys have to drive together? Do you have like a wingman car to your left?
Oh no! So they kind of segmented it out. So it was really only like maybe 10 or 20 people on the track at one time. But I think most everyone had a sense of like, okay, if you brake or slow down, there are points where a few people kind of slowed down, and you give a gap to the person in front of you, a couple of seconds, then basically you're in no traffic, right? Nobody's racing, so there's nowhere that anyone's going to overtake. So as long as you have, 5, 10, 15 seconds between you, then you're really not in danger. So,
because I'm looking at this track, and there's some pretty hairy turns over here in the end of Sector 2 and the beginning of Sector 3 in the DRS detection zone 2.
So by 17, where it says turn 17, that's where we came in.
Okay.
And so you go
this
all
way?
the way around, and then
or do you go this way?
Yeah, no, you got it right. You go towards 18, 19, 20, you go the slow. And there were a couple points where people did kind of line up and stop on track. So like point 20 was where people did the last turn. Because that long straightaway, everyone wants to kind of open it up and really go down. And then where was the other one?
You guys look up the Circuit of the Americas to get the numbers on your phone.
There are a couple of actually slow parts of the track where people did kind of have a line, kind of line up a little bit. But there was like no danger. There was no instruction. There was no like. There wasn't even a guy being like, "Don't hit each other." It was just, you're on the track now.
We assume if you've gotten this far, you know what the fuck you're doing, okay?
The very funniest thing to me was, so when you sign up for it, you know, they need a little bit more information. So it's like, what car do you have? And because of legal obligations, they can only ask you of specific list of manufacturers, and it was a wide variety of manufacturers, your Toyota, Ferrari, and Aston Martin.
Yeah.
and because Honda's not in the World Endurance Championship, I just had to go other. My Honda is an other because everyone else has got their McLarens and their fucking BMWs.
I love it. I love it. I kind of wish I could have gone with you because I've got my own Honda Civic, and I'm like, the idea of just driving around the F1 track in your Honda Civic while everyone around you has these like fucking gajillion-dollar supercars, and you're just like, yeah, boy, Honda represent.
It was a blast. It was a blast. There were, and there were a lot of people out there with their nice, performance cars or sports cars, but there were also other Civics and Kias out there. Some people with SUVs. It was really cool going. It was really cool just parking and seeing all the other cars, people with their really nice, all of the some multiple purple Lamborghinis parked next to each other.
Okay,
all the Porsches and stuff. It was cool, viewing that. Highly recommended if you find yourself in Austin. Next time they're doing that, they don't do it very often. That was the thing why I had to kind of jump on it, because they don't do it very often, and when they do it, it's like hundreds, thousands of dollars because it's like serious track time. So
cool.
Yeah.
Wow, that sounds great. How was the race? I guess.
It was, I don't know. I don't really. I watched about 2. It was a 6-hour race. That they call it the Lone Star Le Mans because it's a 6-hour race, and I watched it about maybe the last 2 hours of it.
Okay.
From while talking to people and kind of not paying attention. So I don't know. I think Ferrari or Toyota won. I'm not sure. Check the newspapers.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. Well, I watched 2 animated movies last week, so you got a choice. I watched Spy Family Code White finally came onto streaming. The Spy Family movie. Based on the anime.
For their first feature length?
Yeah. And then I also watched Robot Dreams last week, which I've had my eye on for a long time because it has like this unbelievably high score. Like I've been just doing stuff off of score. Like I've just been doing my movies off of score, and like on Rotten Tomatoes, and I like the ones where it's like the critic score and the audience score within about 10 points of each other. I don't like it when they get real weird. Like, sometimes it'll be like 90 critic and 30 audience. And I'm like, well, that's not maybe for me. And then the other way, I'm like, well, that's also not for me. So I try to get them like where they're close. And this one had this like insanely high score for both audience and critics.
So Robot Dreams is like a Philip K. Dick cerebral sort of psychological kind of, it's a little psychedelic, quite a twisted science fiction.
Absolutely not. It's an anthropomorphic world full of animals, and like
Rick and Morty.
And a dog is lonely. It's in 1980s New York, and they got the 80s stuff right. Like all of the like, animation of like bags of Cheetos or like the stuff that's on the news, and it was all perfect like 1980s. So this dog is lonely. This kind of anthropomorphic dog guy is lonely. So he orders a robot, and the robot comes and he builds it, and then they become like best friends. But then like some tragedy strikes, and then they end up getting separated. And then there's kind of this, this story about like what happens afterwards, and like are they ever going to see each other again, and like what is the fate of the robot, what's the fate of the dog, etc., etc. The strangest thing about it that I didn't actually know was that this is an hour and 40-minute movie with 0 dialogue. There's not a single spoken line of dialogue in the entire movie. It's all just done through vibes and facial expressions and stuff like that.
There was, and I'm watching the trailer here on our screen share without the sound.
Yeah,
and I'm like, usually I can tell when I'm missing something. And I watched it. I was like, this works really okay.
Yeah,
that's really fascinating. Tell me more. Was it good?
It was really good. I think it might be a little overblown at like 98% critic, and I will say that it's very kind of sentimental. It's very heart-wrenching. I thought the animation was gorgeous. One of the things I loved about it was the animation style was specific to this movie without looking like another animation style. It didn't have the look of those Amazon US shows. It wasn't an anime. It wasn't Rick and Morty. It wasn't Family Guy. What's that?
Sorry, I got jump scared at the end. We're recording this on September 12th, and the Twin Towers are in the final shot of the trailer.
Oh, yeah.
What?
Yes.
Did you? Whoa! Oh, okay. Sorry.
1980s. Yeah, but it was good. It was really good. I think that like if you're into if the premise is interesting to you, it's got a lot of feelings. It's not all good feelings. Like there's some bad feels in places. But it was it was something different. I haven't seen like a, full length, feature length movie that's all just vibes. And then also, again, I really can't stress enough how like the music and the cars and everything that was there, it reminded me a lot of like what the 1980s were like, of, like he sees the ad for the robot on like an infomercial, and it's just exactly like an 80s infomercial you would see late at night. So it was really good. Like, I don't know if I would say that it's like worth spending like, you got to buy it on Amazon for $15, but like I definitely think it's worth a rental if it's something that's, you're looking for a kind of a light hearted but maybe gets you tearing up by the end type of thing. It maybe dragged just a little bit, like, and I think that part of that was that there's a kind of a longer stretch in the middle, or there's like the inciting incident, and then there's definitely like a bunch of stuff that happens, and then there's kind of like the wrap up part, and that middle part was probably just a little longer than it needed to be. It probably needed to be like maybe 10 minutes shorter just to keep moving and moving and moving. But yeah, solid otherwise, like real nice, real good. Again, snappy. It's so weird because this thing has such like high ratings. I'd never heard of it if I wasn't like trolling movie review websites looking for high rated stuff. Like I never saw a trailer for it on YouTube or a site takeover. I never saw a think piece about like Robot Dreams is the thing you need to go watch this summer, because it came out May 31st in theaters and it just came on streaming now. So
oh, wow.
And it was
that's I mean, feature length animation is like dominated between Disney and DreamWorks and Illumination, and all of them have like a very specific promotional plans and huge budgets versus this neon movie. Like I totally see it getting lost in the shuffle. This is kind of amazing to me. Like I feel like a dialogue free animated movie like this. I mean, it's obviously, I think, it's very possible now, but I think if you look at some of the history of animation, it's a little out of left field,
Yeah.
I'd love to know a little bit more about like how they wrote this and developed it, because I think we'll kind of look back on this period of time in animation as being visual oriented first. It was kind of SpongeBob starting this trend of like starting with the visuals, starting writing the story from the storyboard level, from the visual level, and working out instead of starting from words and script. And so to see that on Robot Dreams here, that's fascinating.
I think it was like a Spanish production. Like all of the people that worked on it were like the entire the crew and stuff was all. It always seemed like it was Spanish. So like I think it's been around for a while, but I think it probably one of those things that came out in Spain and then like played limited
last year.
Oh yeah, 2023. Yeah. Because it was at the Academy Awards, and I saw somebody online complaining about why did this get nominated and the Super Mario Brothers movie didn't, and I was like, because of the Academy Awards, man. Like I know they're trying to like shoot a little bit towards the middle, but like, damn, that Super Mario Brothers movie was not exactly saying anything that wasn't just like
peaches, man. You like peaches, man.
Best original song for a score of a movie, Peaches by Jack Black. Yeah, I don't know. It's good, though. Also, if you got Crunchyroll, that Spy Family movie is also good. It's a lot more Spy Family. It goes for 2 hours. I feel like it was interesting where they like the first half was the family part and the second half was like action spy part. But if you're checked in for the overall idea of Spy Family, I think that Spy Family Code White is fun. So
nice.
Well, speaking of fun, or I don't know, maybe not speaking of fun. It's hard to tell these days. Last week, Sony announced that they were going to have a technical showcase for the PS5. That sounds like fun to me, but you know, I'm a weird guy. I'll watch Mark Cerny talk about stuff and be like, ooh, can't believe he just went there.
We put 8 billion transistors into this toaster. The time to triangle is so low.
Yep.
It's love. I love it. I love Mark Cerny.
They had this as like an unlisted video, and some people got a hold of it. And it said like the PS5 Pro was just the name of, like, Bryce. You've done YouTube. I've done YouTube. Somebody uploaded this to the Sony YouTube channel, and the name of the video was PS5 Pro, and they left it unlisted. I'm like, just put a different name on it, for God's sake, you guys. Like,
yeah. Oh, jeez. Wow. Okay. Yeah, it really does seem slapdash because they kind of announced this thing over the weekend or on Friday. Like, it was a real quick turn. I mean, people have been talking about PS5 Pros, and Switch 2 is obviously a big talking point right now.
Yeah.
But they were, I don't know, this is a little faster than sometimes some of Sony's other digital like announcements.
It didn't seem very like it. Yeah, it did feel very like, oh, we're all being real lazy and easygoing here in the office, and it's like, wait, what the fuck day is it? Were we supposed to announce the PS5 Pro?
Did we get $800 for these fuckers now? Hey, get started.
It's also only like 10 minutes long, and it's real slight. Like, it's a very slight video.
That's 10 minutes minus the like 2 minutes of trailer at the end.
Right. And then a lot of the middle, at
the beginning, explaining the PS5, not even explaining the PS5 Pro, the 2 minutes at the beginning too.
It's a weird thing. And like, I have a lot of thoughts on this, but like, one of the thoughts that I have is that this technology is specifically about, in a lot of ways, like 4K, counting pixels, digital foundry, and I'm watching it on a compressed 1440p YouTube video, and they're like, look at the difference, and I'm like, oh no, I don't even know if a screenshot, I have to look at it. Anyway, getting ahead of myself. So what do we find out? Mark Cerny came out and talked about how the PS5, blah, 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 it's so good, yada, yada, yada. But during this particular console generation, gamers have been forced to basically choose between your performance mode and your fidelity mode, where you have either 60 frames per second, or you have all the fancy ray tracing and the lighting and all that bullshit turned on at 30 frames per second. 30 frames, yeah. Right. What I was really interested was that when he said that, they did research on this, like 75% of gamers choose performance over fidelity. So all the ray tracing and the time and the Unreal nanites and whatever, people are like, dude, fuck that. I want to play this game smooth, man. I want the smooth ass games. So what they're doing is they're creating a new PlayStation, and it's a weird beast, because they're adding, it's like what, 67% more computing units and RAM on the GPU. They're upping the internal storage from 1 terabyte to 2 terabytes, and I think they're adding like an extra chunk of RAM to it.
Jeff, the big three are that we've got a bigger CPU, we've got more advanced ray tracing technology, and I forgot what the third thing is. I'm waiting for the screen to change. And PSSR, we've added pisser functionality. Your PlayStation can now piss on your screen 400K.
So yes,
the super resolution thing, the AI upscaling.
Yes,
and they're really clear in this video. These are the 3 things that we're offering.
Yes,
these are the 3 like slapdash ways we're basically gonna make any game better, kind of.
So the end result, or what they're pitching here, right, is that this is going to allow you to play games at like 60 frames per second, but with all the fancy lighting and shadows and shit turned on, that between their own proprietary AI upsampling, as well as like, and I gotta admit, I mean, it's a relatively beefy GPU upgrade, even if the CPU and the storage pipeline and all that stuff, that's relatively similar, but like they're oofing up the GPU, and it seems like Okay. Anyway, we'll get to that. We are not in the analysis phase yet.
What are the price, Jeff? What does it cost?
All right. So then that was the big thing at the end. PS5 Pro. Yes, I know, but how much does it cost? It costs $700 American dollars, and we will get to the foreign prices later because those are even harder. So $700 American dollars, and it doesn't come with an optical drive. It comes with a 2 terabyte internal storage drive, but you have to buy that external optical drive that they made for the PS5 Slim if you want an optical drive, and
PS5 digital.
Oh yes, and it does not come with a stand either, a vertical stand. So
yeah,
if you want
that's the fucker. They included the vertical. Just make it. They made it's metal now. That's why it's not like casted plastic. It's like a metal ring. So now you have to pay $30. Can you fucking give us $30 for it?
So if you want a PS5 Pro, that's $700. If you want to play your disc games on that PS5 Pro, that's $780. If you want to play your disc games on the PS5 Pro and have it standing vertically, that's $810. MSRP. Okay.
I wish the stand was there, but I will say, like, I have had the PS5 since launch. I don't know where any of my PS5 disc games are. I know I don't play them. So I would say in general, like, it's a trade-off I can understand if it means like this thing is $699 before we even add in the cost of the CD thing. So
right.
I'm kind of okay, whatever on that. I watched this presentation, and I think they make a good job of selling it as like, hey, fidelity mode 60, but now 60 frames per second. I think the bummer of it is they're kind of none of this is like a built-in thing. It sounds like all of this is going to require games to be upgraded to PS5 Pro, which I think was what we saw more or less with PS4 Pro, which is a bit of a bummer. I've always thought that the way Microsoft handles this, where they just kind of try to do it for you, whether it's like the auto HDR stuff. I would love to know more, but I feel like stuff like the PSSR could be something that's, I mean, all games are different, but that seems to be a thing where you would want to make it so you could just wash it on all of the games and just say, all of the games now, we're doing a 4K upres thing just as a beginning, just at the base level. We're doing and some games maybe it won't be good, and then you just turn it off. But most of them would be fine because none of you can't tell anyway.
Right. So I have. Let me break. Let me
an answer to that.
Well, not specifically. What I will say is that they did come out and they said that, like, okay, so they are dividing it into like, these are, because they have a list of games. They're like, these are first-party games, these are third-party games that will have a specific PS5 Pro upgrade to them. But they did come out and say that, like, this should also make all games, even ones that don't have an update, run better. Now, I don't think there's going to be a specific, like, you know, if the developer has basically turn ray tracing on, turn ray tracing off, right? Like, that's not going to be an option. But I think the deal here is that, like, if you turn on ray tracing, it might run better. I don't actually know this. This is me going out on a limb, but because they're using their own in-house upsampler, it is possible that they could be using frame generation as well, to a point where it's like, no, if it doesn't have a PS5 Pro upgrade, what you can do is you can just set it to ray tracing, and the PSSR will try to generate additional frames in between the frames that are there. I don't know if that's the thing. That could be feasible, but I think
well, in the vein of like what happened with the PS4 Pro, I think what they did was that if your game had, I'm going to talk really simple here, but if there were parts of like the graphics of your game that were like unlocked, or you left it open, then the PS5 Pro could be like, hey, there's more RAM here than you thought. So now this unlocked part of the graphics pipeline can now just like have smoother frame rates.
Yeah.
Which gets tough because they've had this whole generation of games making performance modes that got locked into 30 frames.
Yep.
Which now seems like that would be the same exact problem that they had with the PS4 Pro, which is you had all these games that had locked frame rates,
right,
and now require someone to go in and flip a switch or go and do, some amount of work.
Yeah.
It's tough to see them kind of doing the exact same thing again, is it?
Well, okay, so I don't know. I have so many thoughts on this. I want to. Well, let's start somewhere easy going first, right? Well, okay. Tell you what. Before we go anywhere else, are you going to get one of these, Bryce? Do you think you'll buy a $700 PS5 Pro? I am going to try, but it's because I run a professional YouTube channel, right? Like, I probably would wait if I wasn't capturing PS5 games for a YouTube channel specifically, right? I probably wouldn't try to do it day one. I'd wait for maybe a price drop or whatever. But I'm curious to know, because you have no such pressure on you. So
I think where I landed was I probably wouldn't get this in 2024.
Mm-hmm.
Either maybe wait for a small price reduction, but I'm not going to jump out the door to get it, especially because it seems like there are still plenty of cross-generation games that I play.
Mm-hmm.
There's like a lot of the games on PlayStation Plus are PS4 games. Maybe
right.
they're PS4 Pro enhanced, whatever. But
also, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to catch up, but remind me, do you have a 4K TV?
I don't have a 4K TV. I'm playing on a 1440p monitor right now.
Okay.
So a lot of the stuff doesn't. I mean, higher frame rates are more improved. But I do kind of wonder, like, what if we just said like 1080 was actually good? Like, what if we were okay with 1080 or 1440 and we stopped there?
Yeah.
Like, I know 4K is great, but clearly, like, maybe we got a little ahead of ourselves, because it only feels like now we're starting to see these consoles, these dedicated gaming hardware machines that cost $700.
Yep.
To see, I don't know, a substantial blending of this ray tracing in high quality, in high end games, and 60 frames per second. So many of the games on the library, it's also not an issue because they probably have less. I mean, they're showing some of the tougher games, the more in-house games. I think you can see it in Gran Turismo, but that's also because I've played 900 hours of Gran Turismo, so I know why those reflections look a little different, or why they shouldn't look like that. In that shot, but.
So
man, that's not $700.
I really did want to say that I think I was talking with somebody before about it, and I think it kind of unlocked a little bit of my brain that, like, I do think that there is a scenario here, and Bryce, you tell me if this sounds stupid, to kind of explain what has happened here, because I think that in a lot of ways, like, I be honest, I feel there's a big part of me that feels burned, where it's like, man, I spent $500. I went through the process of getting the PlayStation. I was told that we're going to have ray tracing and it's going to be awesome, and this thing's going to load fast. It's going to have a high frame rate,
and then look inside of your ears, and we're going to 3D personalize your audio.
And then 90 days into it, it was like, well, everything is like, well, do you want it to run good or do you want it to look good? And I'm like, well, I expected both for the amount of money that I gave you. What do you mean? Which one do I want to do? And it was disappointing. But I think in a lot of ways that what happened, I don't know if this is true or not, but like, I think that Sony, when they were developing the PS5, they were developing it in a different gaming ecosystem where the AI upres thing wasn't as much of a concern, right? Like, if Xbox or Sony, if Microsoft or Sony had known how big of a thing this would be, they wouldn't be relying on software FSR2 for upscaling. They would have built some Tensor Core, some equivalent, some Pisser, XESS AI upsampling. I think that in the beginning, that AI upsampling was considered to be like an assist, right? We're going to make the games, they're going to run on your raw hardware, but guess what? Like, now we can make them run a little bit better because we can lower, slightly, we can knock it down from 4K to 1440, and then we're going to upres it to 4K. But then, like, as that became more common, every game was relying on that AI upsampling. Like, nobody was, well, some games are, like the first party stuff, but
and on consoles, a lot of these games rely on dynamic resolution.
Yeah.
So you already are kind of cutting into that, where a lot of games are running over 1080, but maybe not exactly 4K, or maybe some of the UI may be 4K, but maybe the 3D rendering, fluctuates. I mean, you see it on Digital Foundry videos all the time. It is a known thing that the way that they kind of shave it is by carving into the resolution. And I think that makes it a really unfortunate part of one of the big three to be AI upscaling, only because what is all this raw? Like, are we just saying that like we do care about 4K being a goal? Okay, fine. I mean, we're trending towards that. Okay, but then we're also upscaling all this shit anyway.
Right.
So what have we been doing with all this extra power? But then also it needs to like we're kind of getting a lot of the inconvenient parts of all these things. It seems like we're maybe picking and choosing some of the worst parts of this to cover up a lot of like, it needs to be pro. It needs to be pro.
So I think that, and again, I have a lot of criticism about the price and stuff, and even kind of. I've been disillusioned a lot of times with modern gaming, but I think that like in the old days, what would happen is if you had a mid-tier developer who wasn't doing like a gajillion hours of optimization, all of this specific like really hardcore like device specific encoding and stuff like that, what you would get is a game with slightly worse graphics. You wouldn't get as much fidelity. You wouldn't get as many leaves on the ground or like blades of grass or things. Things would look a little bit worse. Whereas I feel like now they're trying to render these really high quality like scenes and things in games, and then just relying on whatever AI solution, whatever company I'm putting this on is using to make up the difference in optimization and frame rate. And in a lot of cases, if you're not careful with that stuff, it ends up looking like super muddy. Like it ends up looking blurry and muddy and crappy, and like I played Black Myth Wukong, and I was just like, I don't really want to play anymore. This it kind of looks like garbage on my PlayStation. So, I don't know.
I mean, like, yeah, it's why aren't we questioning 4K more? Like, I think that's the tough thing about that 10-minute video is like, it seems like if we change the goal of 4K, a lot of this would smooth over really easy. If we were looking at a 2K or a 1440p goal. And then some games are 4K, some games are 8K or 120, whatever. But like, it all seems like putting a lot of good energy after really complicated solutions. Mm-hmm. Like I get it. It like, I don't know. On one hand, like, if I didn't own a PS5, then I would probably go for a PS5 Pro. Mm-hmm. Partly because of the 2 terabytes. I think that's a big selling point.
Yep.
But then also because I guess 600, where's 699?
700, yeah.
Would be like on the high end. If I was getting when I got my PS5, I got it because I wasn't going to put money into a gaming PC. Mm-hmm. So it's not crazy money if you're getting into this. If you're young and, getting started, there's a new person born every day. But, and so we kind of feel, I guess it's like the PS5 and the PS5 Pro becoming an Xbox Series X and S sort of situation. It's kind of on a TikTok, on a different offset.
The thought that I had was that I'm really happy that a new generation of gamers gets to know what it was like for like 25-year-old Jeff when Sony announced the price of the PS3 at $600 like MSRP on day one, and I was like, fuck, where am I going to get $600? Also, I need an HD TV in order to play this thing and have it look good. So where am I going to get $600 in an HD TV? And I spent like a year basically devoting my finances to getting my PS3 to look good. But okay, I think that the price is too high. I think that they should include an optical drive for $700. I really just
what?
I think that that it should come with an optical drive, or maybe at the very least, I think there should be an option, Bryce. Okay, this I think everybody should be able to get on board. I should be able to buy a PS5 Pro with an optical drive without a controller for $700. I have 4 PlayStation 5 controllers. I don't need another fucking PlayStation 5 controller. I need a goddamn optical drive. They just raised the price of PS5 controllers from $70 to $75, so it's about the same thing. Let me buy one that's stripped down. Hell, don't even give me the cables. I don't even want the fucking power cable to it. Just give me a cardboard box that has PS5 written on the top from a guy behind a fucking warehouse, and I'll take it home and make it work.
I think it's interesting because they don't offer, you would think like I don't know. You could make a whole like recycling pitch of it. Like, hey, if you're a PS5 Pro, like here's our Pro pack, and it's just that. It's just the box. You just use your same power cord. You use your same controllers. Re-download your games. Hell, we'll buy. I don't know. We'll refurb it or something. Like you could do something like that, but I think this is really I think this is just an excuse to kind of have a full price console SKU on the market again. I really think that that's the only goal here, and so they don't need to. They're not trying to reinvent the wheel. I mean, it looks exactly the fucking same, which is fine.
No, Bryce, it's got a stripe. It's got stripes on the side to make it go real fast. It's got the 3 things on the side to make it go real fast. I have 2 things to say about that. One is that there is kind of a thing out there that says this console is not trying to be like they don't want everybody in the, like, it isn't being marketed right now to everybody. It's not just like, we expect everybody to go out and buy a PS5 Pro. They expect people who are going to spend $1,300 on a video card to be like, well, shit, yeah, man, I'm in, like, I'm dedicating disposable income to the hobby of gaming, and like, I just bought a GeForce 4070 Ti Super for like $800. I just spent $800 on a new video card, $700 for a whole PlayStation with a 5th controller and a power cord. What a steal!
You mean I can give my old one to my kids or put it in my bathroom? Like any number, like you could come up with a million reasons to have 2 PlayStations in your house if you're throwing that much money around.
I have two PS4s in my house. I have a PS4 and a PS4 Pro.
Yeah, exactly. So I that's why I think the price is not crazy. I mean, because there's still a PS5 out there.
Yeah.
Because there's still the PS4 and the PS4 Pro out there. There are still tons of cross-gen games coming out, which, okay, it's just fine. I think that's fine. But then we're getting into a place of like the dynamic is changing. Then how much longer is the PS4 a baseline that games need to release on?
Right.
It doesn't feel like we're over that hump, especially because a lot of indie games are still for making their low, not as graphically intense games on PS4 or PS4 Pro base. And then at that point, why don't there's a number of reasons why we're still holding on to that. And I wonder what that will look like in a few years, if that's going to be better or worse than where we're at now.
The other big thing that I was reminded of last week, Michael and I were talking about this for, I don't remember why, I have to go back and look, but is that this is this is also what happens when you don't have a competitor, right? Like, the thing is that if Xbox was hot on their heels with their own Xbox Series X Pro, and they could undercut them and say, ours is $600 and it plays third-party games with ray tracing in 4K at 60 frames per second. Like, this is exactly what Sony did to Microsoft at the beginning of the PS4 Xbox One generation. Was their console was cheaper than Microsoft's because it had the Kinect built in. And so since Microsoft has fallen off, like, the sales figures on the Series X are just kind of like not great. And they just announced like, oh, we've got a diskless Series X. We've got a 2 terabyte Series X. We've got a larger Series S that you could put out. Is that normally this would be the perfect time for Microsoft to be able to swoop in and say, hey, we've got you covered with a cheaper version that's just as powerful, in a way to really, kind of put the screws to them. Traditionally speaking, that's where you would see like a kind of a price like war between 2 big places that were trying to get you to buy into their ecosystem. But it just feels like Microsoft has kind of given up on that a little bit. And so I don't think there's as much of an incentive for Sony to then try to match a competitor price, because they don't really have a competitor in the 4K 60 frames per second super ray trace market space right now. You seem very dubious about this claim.
Because they're competing with you in your graphics card. I mean, I think that's what we're talking. I mean, I think you're right in saying that like Microsoft is not working on doesn't seem to have a Series XXX or a Series X Pro.
Yeah.
In the works at the moment. I mean, who knows? But at the same time, what is to stop them from saying, yeah, we'll fucking do that too? Like, what is it that Sony's putting in here? They're getting a better chip. They don't really talk about the specifics of it, and I did not look into them, but I presume it's going to be another off the shelf chip from AMD. Not like they're building. It's not like they invented their own vapor chambers. Their advanced ray tracing, that's software, presumably. You mix some hardware, but we don't know that there's ray tracing hardware. We just know that there's a better GPU and some new, maybe some software, and then the PSSR, which is, software upscaling. If that were hardware, they would have told us. So what is it that Microsoft's not even able to do here? They can do this too if there's a demand. And we saw, and sorry, I'm not meaning to dunk on you, but this is just how I talk. And we did see this last generation between the PS4 Pro and the Scorpio. Was that what it was?
I believe you're thinking of the Xbox One X.
The One X. Fucking Christ alive. And we did see that. So much so that Microsoft did that for the Series S and Series X.
Right.
And so, yes, Microsoft are not doing that right now, but it's because they thought they were doing that 4 years ago. And I think they're just kind of caught out that they can't. It would suddenly be now the Xbox Series S and X and A, the all of that nasty, weird nomenclature Microsoft bullshit that they've put in there just goes up 50% because they have to make a third box now. On top of the diskless ones, on top of all the proprietary memory card thing that they're doing, whatever.
Yeah.
It's like, I agree that this could be a slam dunk. I don't exactly know that. I don't know. Is this good enough to be a PS5 Pro? On one hand, I think I see the value proposition if you don't have a PlayStation to begin with. But on the other hand, I don't know how you make this proposition to enthusiasts, only because this seems like a kind of potentially minor upgrade graphically compared to if you were getting a new graphics card after 5 or 6 years and expect wide compatibility with upgrades, right? You get a new graphics card on a PC, and day one everything looks better immediately just because of the way that whole fucking thing is.
Sure.
With this, they're going to need an update from someone to go in and click a button and try a new optimization that you hope is better, or you're upscaling. I feel like I'm going around in circles with this because it's maddening about this.
It's also hard to show. Right, what you're trying to show is 4K 60 frames per second in your hand with ray tracing. The problem is that every trailer that gets put out is some kind of sparkled up, it's the best part of the game. It looks super good, and they can zoom in on pixels all they want, but it's hard for me to see that outside of I feel like I need to see one in the wild. Show me here's what it's like. I need to go to a Best Buy kiosk and see on, off, PS5 regular, PS5 Pro, PS5 regular, PS5 Pro, in order to really see the difference, because the 1440p video, even on their website, it's hard to tell the difference. So
on especially on some of those games, right? The way the 30 frames per second kind of looks different. I don't know. I'm used to the way Gran Turismo does the 30 frames, which actually looks kind of TV like. But
yeah,
it's some of the moments that they have in there where they've slowed it down 50%, and then you actually just see that there are more frames are as good. But yeah, it's really tough to make this sell to people, and you can't say your games will be 4K because they fucking basically won't be, and you can't say your games are going to be 60 frames per second because you can't promise that.
Yeah. Maybe. Yeah. Well, anyway, I'm sorry. We're just about out of time here, but I am going to have us go into a little bit of overtime just because we were supposed to get through all the tabs that I have open, and we've
covered all that.
I assumed it. Yeah. So we're going to lightning round through some of the other stuff. Let's see. $700. Oh, also it will do 8K, even though there's not a game yet that does 8K.
PS5 can do 8K. No, I'm in my box.
While Bryce is getting his box, he's looking into 8K. Let me run through some of the rest of these. Pre-orders. Okay, when's it going to be released? It's going to be
8K.
released. Oh, it does say 8K. It says 4K 120, 8K, HDR. Bryce, your PS5 box is so on hand. I have questions.
8K is already on the box.
But I will wait for later. Okay, it's coming out November 7th. When can you pre-order it? Pre-orders are opening on September 26th. So, yeah, get ready for that. Sony has done, I don't know if there was a big thing, but they did a pretty good job with the PSVR 2 of trying to, like, keep scalpers from just, like, grabbing everything. So hopefully... also, I don't know if scalpers gonna be like, I'm gonna buy the PlayStation Pro for $700 and sell it for $1,200 on eBay, and it's like, well, good luck with that.
Yeah, how many got burnt by the PS5? Yeah, how many got burnt by that? I wonder.
It is also, this is just a kind of reaction thing. People are unhappy about the price of the PS5 Pro. They are just kind of sticker shock of a console being that expensive, and I don't blame them because it all looks. In a lot of cases, it's a hard sell.
It's not HD. It's not like it's small. It is small details.
Yeah,
it's hard to show that these are like there's not a lot of comparisons.
I mentioned it before, but as bad as it is in the U.S., the European prices translate into way more. I mean, I think that other markets pay more for consoles normally, but like in Japan, it's around $847. I think it's similar in Europe. It's 800 euros, 700 pounds. Like these are all... vastly more expensive. I assume consoles are just more expensive. I'm a little confused about why it would be so much more expensive in Japan. But
the yen is down. I mean, we've had stories the past few weeks about the PlayStation controllers getting more expensive and the consoles getting more expensive in Japan.
Yep.
And I think a lot of that is just because the yen I think it's because the yen is down. I mean, we're talking about full freight price that presumably hasn't gone down or changed since launch, or has gone down and needs to go back up. And I think the answer to that is just a weak yen.
Also, this has some people in foreign countries speculating whether it would be cheaper to just buy it for $700 to the U.S. and then freight ship it overseas to them wherever they are. These are the games with the confirmed upgrades that I mentioned before. Gran Turismo 7, Horizon Forbidden West, Spider-Man 2, Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart, Last of Us 2 Remastered, Demon's Souls, and then third-party games, Alan Wake 2, AC Shadows, Dragon's Dogma 2, F1 24, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, Hogwarts Legacy, The Crew Motorfest, and The First Descendant. This is to date. More maybe later. Does Gran Turismo 7, is that the one that you're...
No. So the thing...
Do you want to change your answer from before?
It's asterisks. It's all fucking asterisks. So it supports ray traced reflections between cars and gameplay at 4K 60 frames per second. Which, granted, that is like the big usage for ray tracing in Gran Turismo. It's on the surfaces between cars while you're... and wherever your camera is at. So I get that that's like the most of the ray tracing. And maybe that's what the ray tracing mode just already is in Gran Turismo 7. Nobody's really cared because it's just because you can't even play the game in that mode. So that should have been the big thing, is like, at least when the part where you're actually playing the game, there are ray tracing features happening. But I wonder what that looks like with a slight asterisk there. But okay, yeah. I mean, whatever. It's also a 4 or 5 year old game. So
yeah.
Okay.
Let's see some comparisons to games. I don't know, the blah 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 blah. Capcom did talk about how the Dragon's Dogma 2 update is also coming with a PC patch as well to try to make that game run better everywhere. So
Weird that game is still in that fucking mode. I'm done with that game. Why are they... Okay, weird.
Sorry, I'm getting like a ad started playing audio. I don't know what the hell's going on there. Yeah,
$80 are in your area with a billion transistors.
$80 upgrade. Oh, the PS5, the $80 optical drive is apparently selling out all over the place. So that's great. Maybe that'll be where the scalping is, not the console, but the $80 add-on optical drive. So
that's yeah. I'm not sure about that one. I'm not sure about that one. There are a lot of ways you could make that headline happen.
Well, that was just like looking at like Target, Walmart, Best Buy, a few different retailers online to see if they could buy it.
But if you give them none, I mean, the console's not even out for, I mean, whatever, but I mean, who knows what that fucking stock is? Like, yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Sony is going to start a new refurbished program where they're going to be selling OG PS5s, refurbished OG PS5s for $350 for about half the price of the new console. So, which I assume is going to be from a million trade-ins that are now sitting around waiting to go out. So, hey, maybe you don't have the money for PS5 Pro, but maybe you got money for a refurbished PS5. That's like Switch prices, man. $350, like especially if they throw in a controller.
And I mean, I would say you can trust a refurb from a console maker. I got a refurb Wii U back in the day for fucking nothing, and it was like a special like Zelda one, and it worked great, no issues. This is actually making a really interesting like Apple style lineup of like, here's the PS4 Pro, and then the PS5 used, and then the PS5, own your own PS5, and then the PS5 Pro.
Yeah,
like, ooh.
And then let's finish it up with, as we mentioned before, but I want to like say this specifically, Sony stealthily just raised the prices of all their controllers by $5. So they were $70 before, they're $75 now. I didn't talk about this, but a lot of people have been being like, for $800 you could build a gaming PC, and I'm like, well, you better knock $75 off the price of that, because you're gonna have to buy a controller if you're gonna be making a gaming PC. I don't know.
Sure.
Leave the console, leave the controller out. Give me an optical drive. Seriously, I don't want fries. Give me double meat. Just give me double meat instead of fries, you guys. Add bacon and keep your bag of chips.
I wish for the price of these controllers, the batteries just lasted a little bit longer. Yeah, I know that they don't want them to be super heavy, and I get it, but I just wish the batteries lasted a little bit longer. And it feels like they get stuck, because they get stuck in the year that they were made, and the battery technology of the year that they were made, wanted to get like a pro controller that maybe has a better battery, or maybe it also runs on AA's. Fucking who knows?
And with that, we're going to go ahead and take a break. We're already like 8 minutes over, so we're going to take a break. I think I got some more Sony left to go, but we'll find out in part 2, so stick around, everybody. We'll be right back. We're back, and you might have thought to yourself, "Oh, that was a lot of Sony talk. Surely you're done talking about
Sony. Wipe our hands.
Oh, nope, no, not done. Not done just yet.
Scrub back in, Doctor.
Yep. So we got some software updates. Actually, I got a little drama news here. I like talking about this guy because I think he's kind of a dick. But the Astrobot came out. The new game is great. I've been playing it. It's just a shit ton of fun. Like, it's super good. Have you been playing it as well? Did you get it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I just beat the octopus.
Oh, yeah, I'm pretty close. I'm almost to the end of the snake level. So,
nice.
But a bunch of the so for anybody who doesn't know, this game has a ton of cameos from like Sony properties and little like characters that you get in this little area. Super great. A lot of studios put out the like, hey, congratulations on launching your thing. And one of them was the studio that made Days Gone. Bend
the
Studio
zombie game, right? The motorcycle zombie game.
Yeah, the biker zombie game. And people may or may not know, but the guy that used to be, he's not there anymore, but he was the former director. His name is John Garvin, and he used to be there, and he's like super salty about Days Gone and like it not getting a sequel. And there was a point where he talked about how like the reviewers didn't understand it because they were too woke, because the main character looks like a girl's ass at some point, and that's why they all gave it a low score. And I'm like, man, I I don't know. That's a thing. Anyway, they put up this nice little piece of art with the main character from Days Gone, Deke, like watching two of the like little Astrobot characters kind of frolicking on a beach. He's a little Astrobot guy. And then this guy like retweeted it and he said, kind of sad that Deke has been reduced to promoting other games. Well done, Ben Studios. Way to protect your legacy. And then he started fighting with people on Twitter, just back and forth. Like some guy was like, hey, you should chill out. And he's like, oh yeah, well, have you made a video game? Well, then you don't know what it's like to see your hard work turned into just some like billboard for some other bullshit that like, and it's like, oh man, fucking just calm it down a little bit, my man. Like, I don't know.
Okay. Like, look, if whatever, like he's allowed to feel how he feels about it. I think everybody else feels like it's pretty small and it doesn't ruin the reputation of the cult classic to be Days Gone.
Yes.
Meanwhile, the conversation about Days Gone is always, man, some people liked Days Gone, but not enough people. Mm-hmm. Shucks, man. We keep giving you Days Gone for free, but, it's just a cult classic, really. They really got to give us another try, man. It's the most, it seems like it's a nice game. You put a lot of time and effort into it. They're not all home runs, man.
Yep.
I'm not saying to give up, but settle the fuck down.
Yeah, move on to your next thing. Make something new. Make your new. You're an artiste. Make your new project.
I'm sorry. Were you working on Days Gone 2? Oh, okay. Derek was reduced because of a post and not because the game did so. Okay. Oh, okay.
I think the last time he was in the news, he was like really salty because they had pitched Days Gone 2 to Sony like twice, and both times they'd just been like, nah. And he was like, damn it, I want to make Days Gone 2 so bad.
And I think if I remember correctly, that was around the time that they were doing Days Gone on PC.
I think so, yeah.
I almost feel like, okay, everyone's really putting their social media posts in, huh?
Yep.
I don't know. Whatever.
Let's see. In better Astrobot news, there's a bunch of we get to the end of Astrobot. I won't scroll too far down, but apparently the developers, Asobi Studios, has talked about how they want to do like a very small DLC, like focused on specifically speedrunners as an update. So for people who are interested in speedrunning the game, and also there's apparently a bunch of teases in the end credits of other little bot characters that might be coming in a future update. Like they might make like a level or two, like just some bonus stuff that they can shove in there, as opposed to here's 4 more worlds on top of the 5 that you already have. Like they're planning on doing some like very small but cute updates. So I don't know.
Yeah.
Everybody should play Astrobot. They should put Astrobot on the PC. Bryce, the thing about Astrobot that reminded me, I'm like, man, that DualSense 5 has like some really awesome haptics in it, and nobody fucking uses them except for like Asobi. I mean, I guess in Gran Turismo they have like the adaptive triggers and stuff that you can use. And maybe do you feel like a specific, it's on a wet road turn rumble or something?
Well, I will say you can kind of feel the raindrops when it starts to rain, but also just as a reminder, Gran Turismo still doesn't have rain in any of the American circuits. That's right, 1/3 of that game does not have rain weather. Sorry.
I feel like you need a Gran Turismo podcast, Bryce. You need to just be like, I'm Bryce and I'm here. I'm going to complain about Gran Turismo for 45 minutes every week, and you can listen or not, but I got to get this out. I got to get it out of me.
Mm-hmm. Bryce, 917 hours, folks. Just if you're keeping up on my current total. 917 hours.
In other PlayStation game news, Concord got shut down, but people are out there abusing change.org to try to get Concord turned back on again. Of course, as we all know, change.org petitions are really stupid, but somebody created one that was similar to the Morbius petition that says, "We were all busy that week. Please release Concord again." I think it was looking for like 50 signatures or something like that. Oh, it was looking for
change is like does like milestones and stuff now. That stuff's always changed. I think. I feel like it's cute. This is a cute, like, if this was The Onion article or a Clickhole article, if this was a hard drive article, it's very cute. Like, because it captures the situation so perfectly. That game was out for 2 weeks, and then they refunded everybody. And we don't know what they're going to do with it. I mean, we know that they're going to make it free to play, but we don't know what they're going to do with it.
Yeah.
And it's like fucking ridiculous. Like, yeah, like it's so funny. We were busy that week. Like, I would have tried Concord. I probably would have like tried or looked at. I have not seen a frame of gameplay. I don't know what this game looks like. They fucking took it down that fast.
You guys go to RageSelect.com and look for the 2 parts that Matt and I did, right? I gave that game a try. It was okay. But okay, well, how about some serious Concord news? One of the big questions about Concord after it was shut down was that they were going to make an episode for Amazon's secret level show that was about Concord as part of, like, the kind of promotional drive to it. And I think there was kind of a strange question of like, well, the game got shut down. Are they going to take that episode out because it would be like a promotion for something that doesn't exist anymore? And the answer is no. They confirmed that it is going to be in there. So you can tell that outside of the PS5 Pro is a real banger of a news week, right?
Oh yeah. I mean, with how long CG stuff takes to work out, like, no one's gonna like fucking write a refund on whatever contract they did. They're gonna do it, and it'll be a fun fact when Concord does re-release. And and honestly, it doesn't matter. Like, it would be a thing if they took it out of the show, as if the game's completely dead and they're never gonna relaunch it. But we know that they're gonna do something with it. Yeah. So like, keep it in the show, because it doesn't matter if that's true when the show launches or even when the game launches. Like, for most people, the day of when something goes live kind of doesn't matter as much.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. Did you? I don't know if you and I have talked about that secret level thing. What did you think about that? Or did you watch? It was part of the.
I have no idea about it. I just know that this was a part of that. It's
Gamescom.
So every episode is inspired by a different game.
Yes.
Or based on a different game universe.
Yes. Yeah. It's interesting though, because the one they have Keanu, like an almost live action Keanu, and apparently he's going to be in, from everything that has been able to be seen, an Armored Core short. And I'm like, oh, that's perfect. I want to see Keanu in an Armored Core short.
Where's my dog, Raven?
Would you buy Keanu as a young Walter? What if he was like a young handler Walter? He'd have to do a different voice though. He couldn't just do the regular, because Walter has that, like, that commanding. He doesn't have like the kind of raspy voice, listen up 621, that kind of thing. But
yeah, I'm into this. I think this is an interesting idea. And I think there are a lot of video games worlds that can't justify a series or even a 90-minute movie.
Yeah.
But if you've got, a 45, 60-minute part of an anthology, I think you can sell a lot. I think there are a lot of publishers who are looking to sell media rights. Who you can sell media rights to for one episode of your Amazon CG thing. Like, totally. I think it is a good fit, actually.
And it's Blur, so it's going to be high quality. I'm looking forward to it. Yeah. Let's see. In other PlayStation news, Helldivers. I've got a Helldivers story here that's not bad news. Apparently, Helldivers this week has buffed both one of their railguns as well as the fire, which was the thing that they debuffed on the latest War Bond, even though it was all like flamethrower related, and people were real mad about it. About like, hey, You sold us on this, like, buy the War Bond, get all the new flamethrowers, and they decreased the like power of the flamethrowers by like 25%, making them not really viable. But Helldivers had a problem with nerfing stuff recently, and it's interesting to see them going in and like specifically buffing weapons in the game to make them like more fun.
I get to say this because I paid full price for Helldivers 2, even if I've only played like 2 or 3 hours of it. I don't understand why they keep like making trouble for themselves with this balancing stuff. Like, they know it's not a real war, right? Like, they're not gonna ruin the game if they make people too strong. That's why they have like a million extreme difficulty. Like the reason I stopped playing was because I was overwhelmed by like how powerless I was as a character. And so like I'm not going to complain if you make all the weapons more powerful, and the bugs don't give a shit, because I don't know if you know this, they're ones and zeros, my friend. So
instead of nerfing, I've always said, instead of nerfing the fire, why don't you just put the multiplier on the bugs and click it twice, right? And make it like 3x bugs, right? If it's too powerful.
Yeah, like I think there's a way that you could be additive without ever having to get into this issue of like nerfing things for some. Like I mean, it's not a competitive. It's a PvE game. It's not a competitive game.
Yep.
Like it's not PvP at all. So I don't understand. It makes the balancing. I understand having a game's balance in mind. But
I think they probably do. So for people who don't remember from the early days of Helldivers 2, I think that what happened was that they were like, oh, we put out the general order for free Planet X, and like it's a 10-day mission, and the community did it in 14 minutes, and it's like, whoa, fuck, because in that early days when it was like, there were like a lot of people and they were all pushing in the same direction, you were getting these things where we're putting out a challenge and you guys are just like smashing it and smashing it and smashing it and smashing it. And if you're trying to keep a live service game going, you can't have the player base just like running roughshod over 6 months worth of projected updates in like the next 48 hours, and then you're just like, well, shit, we don't have anything now. So I think that may have like factored into it, but I definitely take the criticism that it's like there had to have been a better way, because it wasn't just one time. It was like 3 or 4 rounds of
it happened a lot.
Yeah, like here's everybody's new favorite weapon. Oh, nope, not anymore. It's garbage now.
And in a game where like there are microtransactions, and is there microtransactions? I know there's like battle passes and stuff. Like, it makes it feel like, am I expected to like pay to win, or am I expected to like dump money or time into this before I hit a base of like being good? Because that's the fucking thing I don't like about online games. That's the thing I don't like. I'm cool with if you just throw 4 people on and you give them all huge Gatling guns and whatever, but I don't know. Whatever. I said my piece.
Okay, well,
I'm gonna get an ulcer from this episode.
We'll add that one to the Gran Turismo podcast. 45 minutes of Gran Turismo, 15 minutes of Helldivers 2.
Andy Rooney.
Speaking of Space Marines, Warhammer 40k Space Marine 2 just is getting it just launched. Huge numbers, big success. A lot of people are playing it. As I'm recording this, I haven't gotten a chance to jump in yet. I'm going to be recording on that, I think, the day after we record this. But there's 3... so they did a hot fix, but they announced that there are 3 big things that they're adding into their first patch, which will be coming towards the end of the month. And these are 3 things. It's one of those, like, hard to believe that this launched without it, because they are ultra widescreen monitor support, a sparring arena, and then private PvE lobbies. So right now, when you go to do, I think, the side missions, or I don't know, maybe even we'll call up in the main mission, you can't like close your multiplayer party to like invite only. You can't make it like private. Like it just starts dragging in other people as well.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
Well, I'm not. Let me be clear. That's how I understand that it works. It's possible that it's like this is only for the side missions, where you're supposed to have 3 people. They're trying to drag other people in, and they don't want you to just basically like get 2 people and try to do this thing that's tuned for 3 people. It could be that, but whatever it is,
this game have a single player mode? Like it's got AIs to fill in.
Yes,
some amount of that. That's weird. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That's wonky.
Yeah. So, but at least they reacted to it right away. At launch, people were like, "Where the fuck are these things?" And they were like, "Okay, put them on the list as the first thing." I like it when companies seem like they're prepared to be like, "Let's launch," and then everybody's gonna like watch the launch, and the first thing we're gonna do is push for like whatever the top 5 things we see on Reddit that people are complaining about it. Like we're just gonna work it, 2 week patch into just like getting those things out as fast as possible. So
sure, yeah.
Yep. Let's see. Destiny 2 got basically like a roadmap for how they're going to be working now that the big story expansions are done. They're not going to be doing any big story expansions anymore. And the question has been kind of what they're going to do instead of that. And apparently they're going to basically have 2 seasons. Like they're planning on having like these seasons that have like an expansion, but not like a full story expansion, like a smaller expansion. And then each season is going to have like 2 like updates with some kind of battle pass, reward pass type of thing that happens. The first one is coming in summer of 2025 called Apollo. And then winter 2025 is one called Behemoth, and they're going to have it just sounds like standard stuff. They're going to add in some stories, but not like big thing. Well, actually, no, hold on, let me back it up. It's been a real frazzled day. My brain is a little messed up.
This certainly seems fucking confusing. Like they're gonna be expansions, but they're not gonna be full story expansions. Are they gonna be paid expansions in the way that the previous ones have?
From what I understand, especially from the graphic that they put out, basically the expansions are going to be the seasons, right? Are going to be like expansions that add new content to the game, but then each one of those seasons is going to have 2 like rewards passes, which will probably be the pay. It's like, it's just like Apex, right?
There's a battle pass,
right.
There'll be a few new missions and then a battle pass,
right?
Okay.
But what I did find interesting about this is from a Kotaku article that I was reading, was they talked about wanting to try like more experimental stuff. Like they talked about how like there was some levels that had like non-linear kind of levels, like randomized levels, or like Metroidvania style levels where you had to get like a certain thing to unlock the door over here type of thing, and how they'd like to try to like, instead of just doing the like Destiny, here's the story where you go from one side of the level to the other and you're fighting these guys, these bosses, they'd like to try to do smaller but more experimental updates. I don't know. I think that this is probably, in my opinion, their last hurrah before. I mean, I don't think Destiny's on the verge of getting shut down, but I think it's definitely on track. I think it's definitely got a roadmap to be shut down if they don't turn the kind of player base will and sales figures and stuff around with all the cuts that they've done. So
yeah, because I think it's we started the story asking what is next for Destiny 2, and I only kind of know the answer now. They're gonna make a little bit more of it, and there will be a battle pass, and there will be money exchanging hands, and you will enjoy it. You will love it.
There's also apparently some new
you will love it.
Some new like loot tiers where they're gonna be giving out like higher tier loot at lower in more generalized encounters, and then the higher tier stuff will be a super high tier that's like the legendaries or something. I don't play enough Destiny to really know like what the hell they're talking about.
Gold is so old fashioned. We're introducing our new extra currency, Ultra Gold.
Ultra Gold. That sounds like what you would buy in Helldivers 2. Ultra Gold. Yes. Super Earth has a brand new currency. It's called Ultra Gold.
Man.
This is also strange. They talked about how like, have you ever played Destiny? Like, you got the big map.
A little bit. It's like a very little bit. Explain it as if I had not.
Like in the UI for Destiny 2, that's been this way since Destiny 1, is that it's like got a universe map, and you've got a little ship, and then you click on a planet, and like it shows your ship in orbit, and then you do all your loadouts, and you pick where you're going to go, and then it lands. Apparently, they also had this mock-up that they shared where it's just like they're still going to have that, but they're also just going to have like a streamlined ass screen,
just a quick menu
with just like check, like these are the things for this season. Which one do you want to do? Just click on this. Enough with this bullshit. Enough with this. My ship hyperspace. We're just going to dump you right into the thing. That's like, well,
good.
It's a bold strategy.
I've been playing Tekken 7 or Tekken 8. I've been playing Tekken 8 a lot, and I'm trying to get more used to playing online games, and so Tekken is like a really good like way to it's good, modular enough for it. But what's annoying about Tekken 8 online is that every time you want to go in, you have to like go to the menu. You have to go through like the full character select menu, and you got to select your practice dummy that you're going to practice in while you're waiting, and you got to practice the stage that you want to practice on while you're waiting, and then you got to load in, and then when you get in, as long as you're not paused, then it will load. Like there's so many steps to just get it. Like quick menus, very good for an online game.
Yeah.
I'm like good. I'm surprised it never had that, because I know that Destiny's UI with the cursor stuff's always been a little.
I hate it. I know. I every time a console game has a virtual cursor, I fucking hate it. I don't want that shit. I just want to be able to switch between menu items. Like, quit pretending like this is a PC. I've got a PC. It's not this. So. Let's see. Ubisoft came out and talked about updates they were going to be doing to The Crew 2 and Motorfest. And this is really specifically one thing, which is that they have said that they are going to basically be doing updates. They're not out there now, where when the servers eventually go offline, the game will have an offline mode where you can play the game. And unlike the first Crew, it won't just turn off the entire world when they shut down the servers. So... huzzah.
Have you ever seen a joke like unfold over like 3 weeks? This feels like the punch. Are you ready for like the punchline for this? So, like, we had the Crew.
Yeah.
The Crew went offline, and there was no offline mode for it, and everyone got bummed because they've made a bunch of Crew games, and you fucking should be able to play it offline anyway. So then hey, the Crew 2 and the Crew, don't worry, those games we're gonna give those offline support whenever we kill them. And this week, both of those games are on sale for like $2 on Steam. They're like hyper discounted right now. And so the next story has been, I don't know if you saw this, like. The Crew 2 and the Crew Motorfest have a bunch of players right now because everyone's talking about concurrent player numbers. And so we have seen this like fucking arc of, this is a very specific juicing story we're going to generate. And ta-da! Really interesting.
The aristocrats. Wow. Yeah.
And honestly, like, this makes me think, okay, well, maybe I will try the Crew Motorsport. I know it's stupid, or Motorfest, whatever, but I don't know. I need an arcade. I need a stupid arcade racer.
Did you and I play this game? Did you and I play the Crew? I think we did, right?
We did, yeah. And that was the reason, and that's what's been stopping me, is I remember our experience being pretty typical Ubisoft affair.
Yeah. Yep, there you go.
Yeah. Oh, now you're right. It's on Hawaii. What they put it? Isn't it on Hawaii?
I think so. Was that the one that had the battle royale, or was that Forza?
They all have battle royale.
They have battle royale.
Forza does have one. They all do have battle royale.
Okay. Let's see another Ubisoft news. Ubisoft is giving away $9 worth of free money if you want to spend it in XDefiant, baby.
What the fuck is XDefiant? What is XDefiant?
Oh, you don't know what XDefiant is? Oh, have I got news for you? XDefiant was Ubisoft's attempt to make an Overwatch-style hero shooter with nothing but Tom Clancy and Ubisoft characters. So you get to choose whether you want to be. Do you want to be a Rainbow Six? Do you want to be a Ghost Recon? Do you want to be a Watch Dogs? What faction do you want to be? We actually had a story, I believe it was last week, where there's an internal thing that leaked where the higher ups at Ubisoft gave them one more season to get their numbers up, or this whole thing is going to get canned. Now, by all right, by all accounts,
have you ever seen a joke unfold after 3 weeks?
Right, exactly. By all accounts, XDefiant's claim to fame is the fact that they spent a lot of time listening to what their player base said that they wanted and then trying to provide that to them. And from all the reviews I've read, it seems like it's not a bad game. But in a lot of ways, like with the Concord thing, man, are you interested in a new Call of Duty? Or are you playing Call of Duty? No, I'm playing Call of Duty, right? Like I don't want to play
XDefiant. A new one.
Yeah,
but we've got Eric S. from Tom Clancy. Remember Eric S. Bomb technician. Hey, welcome, Eric S. Yeah, very strange. I mean, this is a live service reckoning. Like, you can't keep these. infinite games running infinitely because you can't keep a customer infinitely.
There aren't infinite players. There's a finite number of players, and they're playing other games, and you're not making a compelling enough reason to make them stop playing the games they're already invested in. So, anyway,
including your own games. Like, how many fucking Tom Clancy online multiplayer shooters does Ubisoft have already? Like,
Rainbow Six, Ghost Recon, The Division,
Wildlands.
That was Ghost Recon.
At
least three, like big AAAs.
They had like a battle royale or something. Like and I'm not even saying
Hyperspace or whatever that thing is. They shut that down.
And so, like, I'm not saying they're cannibalizing themselves, but it's like there's a lot of overlap in the market here, and Ubisoft now knows that they can't just flood every corner.
God, I forgot. Did they shut down the extraction shooter, the PvE Left 4 Dead co-op, Rainbow Six, like Quarantine or whatever it was called? Like, oh my God,
Are you thinking about what The Division 2 was originally?
Nope. There was a game that was called Rainbow. They changed the name of it. I remember because it was going to be called Rainbow Six Quarantine, and then we went in lockdown, and then they renamed it to Rainbow Six Extraction. It's a Left 4 Dead style zombie game with aliens in the Rainbow Six universe that came out January of 2022. I don't even know if it's still up. Let's see. Shut down. I just do a Google search for shut. No, is it still on? Is it still?
Maybe it's still up.
Maybe it's still working. I don't know. Development.
But granted, like, maybe it's not a live service game. So if you just need to do like co-op matchmaking or whatever, maybe it's not a big cost versus something with a big battle pass or something.
Yeah.
But I guess I can't say for certain. But it's corporate greed what wrought this. And guess what? It's not the executives getting fired. No. But I'm not going to get ahead of you, Jeff.
Oh, if you're talking about the Sony guy, I cut that story for time.
No, I was talking about all the 650 Microsoft employees.
Oh, is that something that happened today? I might have missed that one.
Today thing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. We can check it on the break. We'll come back.
Yeah.
Give you that one.
In fact, we got a few minutes. We don't have to zip just yet. But in other Ubisoft news, that Star Wars Outlaws game that came out has a bunch of early stealth missions that are insta-fail that are apparently not going over well with people because insta-fail stealth missions are, have always exactly right. Nobody fucking liked that. Everybody disliked that. And the director, though, came out and said that they are basically one of their first updates are going to be they're not removing them entirely, but that they're probably going to be like removing some of the enemies in them and making them a little bit harder to spot you because when we were playing it, we were doing the sneaky parts, and it wasn't like there was like a light meter or like the alert thing was kind of hard. It was hard to. Yeah. Well,
the first thing you unlock in that game, is like, hey, whoa,
right?
So who? Yeah, it's not hard stealth at all. It's not Thief.
Yeah. So good to see at least that they're. I don't know. I did read a story though this week that said that apparently Ubisoft stock went to one of its lowest points ever based on. This Star Wars Outlaws game is not selling very well at all for them, and that their stock is almost at like a 15-year low, I think they said, from just like it didn't do very well. You put out a Star Wars game, it didn't sell. I think Star Wars doesn't sell as well as it used
to. That's so surprising because I think this game is like really good. Like I think for being an Ubisoft style game, like I think it's pretty good. But Ubisoft has a lot of other problems, right? Assassin's Creed is all of the fucking XDefiant stuff we've been talking. Like they obviously have problems, but that Star Wars game like is actually like I see it. I see the vision on it when we were playing it. I'm like completely sold on it.
Yeah.
But I think there's also a lot of I think there's competition with that Harry Potter game. Like that Harry Potter game was on a huge sale for like the past 2 weeks, and now the new sales are around, and it's still again on sale.
Yeah,
and I can imagine nothing. To me, those two things are fighting head and head: is Hogwarts and the Star Wars game. If only because they're very like immersive
kind of based on
franchise games.
movies, big fan bases, people. Yeah, I could see it. I could see it.
That's a shame.
Well, speaking of removing stuff from video games, this is a reminder that the music industry sucks a bunch of asses. So at the end of Alan Wake 1 from 2010, Space Oddity by David Bowie plays over the end credits. Kind of, thematically interesting. Apparently, that licensing deal has expired. So at some point, when is it? September 10th? Oh, right. It already has happened. They're basically pulling that song out of the original Alan Wake. Alan Wake Remastered is still has it, but 24 or 14-year-old Alan Wake from 2010, apparently, whatever that is, it's done. And apparently, I guess even if you make even if the discs still have the thing on it, if it runs out on a digital thing, you could just go in there and just yoink that shit right out of there. The upside to this is that Remedy has an in-house musician, this guy, what's his name? Petri Alenko, who basically wrote an original song called Strange Moons. It's about space and a guy and loneliness. Apparently, it was it was going to be part of Alan Wake in its original incarnation, but when they cut the part that was in it, they cut the song, and he's like, I brought it back, I reworked it a little bit, and we're going to put that in instead. So instead of just silence or like some YouTube download sound alike.
Yeah. Oh god. Yeah. Like, okay, this does suck. I mean, the most ideal version of the story is that the games are still on sale, and this original choice of song is in it forever. And the people who own it have it. It would have been. I think it would have been worse if the story was Alan Wake not available for purchase anymore.
Right, yes.
Because of music licensing.
That has happened several times. I think Deadpool might have had that when it got taken down from licensing.
Man, that was a good game, too.
Yeah. There's been a lot of games that have happened to him, so.
So, like, it could have been worse, but it still sucks. Like, it's great that, seemingly, they had this material that they can kind of, rework into the vision. But it's a pain because this is a part of the digital future that you didn't have with games on DVDs. Like, you can't take my PS2 copy of Grand Theft Auto San Andreas and take Hot Coffee out of it because I have the fucking disc.
Right.
You can't take the songs out of that game because I have the disc. And I feel like the trade-offs, I don't know if we have like enough trade-offs for that yet. I think it still sucks.
I think that the music industry is so fucking terrible. It's been for like the last 20 years, between the way they treat the artists, the way they treat customers, all that stuff. I've hated them for a long time. And I hate that they can do this. I think it should be, frankly, fucking illegal for them to yank this out. I mean, like, what if...
Taking it out, if you already own the game, is what really kicks in the net.
Right. Like, if I buy Alan Wake from this point forward, it's not in there. I don't like that either, but maybe that's a compromise I can make. But the fact that, like, you could take it out of my Steam library, even though I already paid for the game, that's a bunch of bag of dicks. Big bag of dicks. Well, speaking of Grand Theft Auto, we also had the little kerfuffle last week. I don't know if you saw this. Martin Ware from Heaven 17 is, like, I believe a British musician or some kind of musician. He had a song called Temptation in 1983. I'll be honest, I had never heard this song. Like, I pulled it up today because I was like, which song from the 80s? And I was like, I've never fucking heard this song before. Apparently, Rockstar got in touch with him, and they said, we would like to put this in Grand Theft Auto 6. And he got an offer letter, and at the bottom it said, and we will pay you $7,500 for all rights in perpetuity. And he was like, that's too low. Eat a bag of dicks for the song that no one's ever heard of. You can all go fuck yourselves. And then went online to tell everybody how terrible Rockstar was. And I'm a little conflicted about this because on the one side, Rockstar is a huge fucking company. I don't have a lot of like goodwill for them, and I feel like, you know, if you want to buy that music for that game in perpetuity, you should probably pay a little bit more than $7,500. On the other hand, this guy was talking about like they should have offered me royalties on Grand Theft Auto 6 for like one song that might be on one radio station or in the background, and I don't think any company out there is going to be handing somebody with like, I don't, you know.
Yeah, you don't get points for that, dude.
Right. Like, this is not, you know, he was like, oh, what did he say? One of the things, it was about the buyout for any future royalties of the game forever. But think of the exposure. Go fuck yourself. And I'm like, dude, I don't know, man. Like that Tom Petty song that was in the trailer, like blew up on Spotify. I'm sure that it wasn't like, you know, Tom Petty suddenly a millionaire, but I'm sure that like it wasn't nothing either, right?
I mean, the other way that this, what probably happens for a lot of artists who don't hold certain rights to their songs or have employed agencies to exercise these rights, is that like it's good that it's still up to him to make this decision. Is I guess what I would say, because you know. I think Hall & Oates, the song that they've got in Grand Theft Auto 5, is great. I think it's a great fit. Do I know if they got paid well for it? I don't particularly know. Do they know? I guess now they probably do. I guess what I'm saying is like the Rockstar like did go to the artist here probably because that's where the rights lie. But I think a lot of times they go to the big labels and say, what can you get? Because they, I mean, we just had a story about like music rights expiring.
Yep.
Like they get these deals in perpetuity because they need like 80, 100 songs for this game with all the radio stations. Mm-hmm. And with the like, 4 or 5 songs that they've taken out of all of the Grand Theft Autos in all of time, like they have a surprising track record for keeping those games and those music choices available.
Yeah.
And so like, yeah, it is kind of a paltry sum. You probably could have talked it up a little bit more, but also here you go. You get us talking about whatever your fucking song is, guy.
I mean, you know, the other side of this is the fact that like he was talking about how like Grand Theft Auto 5 has grossed an estimated $8.6 billion, right?
Gross.
So anyway, the thing that comes back to me is it's just like I've never fucking heard of this song before. I am an 80s rat. And then I went and listened to it and I was like, this isn't even the kind of song that I would listen to when I was drunk. Like, I don't care. No great loss for me, baby. Like, take your obscure 80s song and go back to whatever you're doing with your life. I wish you the best. But like, you can either negotiate.
Give your attention, sir.
Right.
Bye.
Right. Yeah. So let's see. Okay.
What else? Give me something good.
Lightning rounds. Good. Okay. Baldur's Gate 3 put out their mod pack last week. Their last update, it added a bunch of evil endings. It also added like big mod tools. Like it's close to what they use. It's a watered down version of what they used to build the game from scratch. The one thing that it wouldn't let you do was it wouldn't let you edit the game specifically. All the files of the actual game itself, like the terrain and stuff, those were all locked. And within one day, modders on Nexus Mods unlocked it and unlocked the entire full toolkit where you could do anything. You could hack save files, you could edit world geometry, you can do anything you want, opening the potential gate for full mod campaigns that people can run in the Baldur's Gate 3 engine through their mod manager. So
great. This is great. It seems like this is great. The thing about adding extra endings seemed really interesting to me because that seemed pretty substantial. That seems like a pretty substantial editorial choice, but I've played like 2 hours of Baldur's Gate 3, so I don't know. Maybe it's very difficult to get evil endings or something, but yeah.
I think the thing is that the evil endings were a little bit truncated and they didn't expect people to follow. I think all the endings to that game were rushed. Like even when I got the good ending, it was like, oh, and then so-and-so just ran away. And I'm like, well, wait, what happened to him? And they're just like, he just ran away. That literally happened at the end of my playthrough. I was like, what happened to that one? And it's like, he just ran away.
Baldur's Gate 4.
Yeah.
Baldur's Gate 4.
but they've done a lot of work on it. It's great. And this was supposed to be the last update, but then we also got some evidence on Twitter that no, it's not going to be the last update. They've got a few more things they want to put in before they're done. One of the big ones there, probably the biggest one, is they want to get crossplay 100% working so that console players and PC players can play together. Also, I didn't realize
you mean get it working again because the mod update broke it.
Oh, yes.
That mod update is not out to everybody.
Yes.
Oops. Yeah. No, we got to finish making sorry, I got to finish making the game. Not done.
The one that I think that I really wanted, though, is the camera mode. There's not a camera mode in the game, and they want to put one in there because I made all these like super custom thumbnails for when we did the Christmas RageSelect Baldur's Gate videos, and I tried to install a camera mod, and it started breaking other stuff, and I was like, no. I spent like a day getting this whole thing put together. Take it out. So
when they come out with the feature, it's not going to make that experience. It's of course like a YouTube thumbnail reason why you want it.
That's why I want it. That's why I want it, baby. I only got one reason for screenshots, and it's for my thumbnails. Bryce, the amount of time that I spent capturing the Crush House. They had bad marketing materials, and so I had to make my own custom thumbnails, but I couldn't control the characters. So I'm sitting there in Steam watching them being like, kiss, for God's sake, kiss, I need a picture of this.
Man, so that means you played more of that. No, we can't. We do not have time.
We don't have time for that. We don't have time for that. All right, here we go. Elden Ring just put out a new DLC. It makes the last boss of the DLC easier, which is an update, which is a big thing. Everybody thought the last boss was too hard. I was on the fence about this. Well, no. Here's the thing. I was able to beat the last boss, but I had to respec into basically like kind of the cheaty mode in order to be able to do it. So it's nice.
I'm going back and through my mental Rolodex and see past Jeff, and past Jeff's telling me that these games aren't hard if you respec.
That's true.
Ooh.
That's true.
Ooh.
That's true. But they made it better. They listened to what people wanted. It's easier now. So now it becomes the big, Bryce, I know you don't play Elden Ring, but you can agree here. This becomes I beat the helicopter in AC6 before the first patch. I beat Baltius before the first patch came out. This is the new I beat the end boss of the DLC before the patch came out. So,
That's right. You just reminded me of my eternal shame that I did not beat that boss on AC7 before that first patch came out.
Hey! I beat that game with Zimmerman's, okay, and then I had to figure out how to play it when we did the sequential for it because I was like, whenever I had a problem, it was just like Zimmerman's to the rescue, baby. So
you respec in that game. That game's very easy to respec in.
It is. And last but not least, before we do trailers, before we take a break, they've ditched the yearly Minecraft mob vote is out. And they're just we're doing the updates. It used to be that every year they would make a few different things, a few different mobs for Minecraft, and they let the players ask, were you on when we did the thing where the players had created these very Eastern Bloc communist worker propaganda iconography for Minecraft players of the world unite, no more mob votes, we demand all the mobs.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah, because you got upset because they would display 3 ideas of all seemingly good, presumably good additions to the game, but they wouldn't it wouldn't necessarily be that the ones that didn't get chosen would ever come to it later. Yeah, it was a very weird thing that they were doing with that. So assuming that's their argument, I get it. Just give us all of them. Don't make a whole thing out of it. Just do it because there's no shine on it.
Right.
It's happened every year, and I pretty much don't ever know when it happens until after it's done.
Yeah,
because it's a community thing. So just give them. Just make the game for them.
Just eliminate
an update.
Eliminate the disappointed people who didn't get the thing that they wanted, right? Just give everybody the thing and be like, huzzah, the end.
Yeah.
We had that figured out a long time ago. Speaking of giving people what they want, I'm going to give Bryce a break before we get into trailers. So everybody stick around, and we will be back in just a minute. And that means trailers. Weird trailers this week, Bryce. Lots of not a lot of like high profile stuff this week. Again, I feel like a lot of these weeks where it's like, oh right, this is what doing the podcast was like before the news became just like 24/7 wall-to-wall like big stories all the time. So
yeah, let's get weird with it.
Yeah,
what do we got first?
We have the season 2 trailer for Arcane, which is coming out in November. So the Netflix League of Legends thing. It's strange. Did you watch Arcane when it came out?
I only watched, I think, the first episode, and I did enjoy it. I thought it was good, but I have complicated feelings with Riot and League of. I'm not a big League of Legends head, but I've heard it's very well done. It sounds like the second season is going to be the last, which is good. That the story is allowed to like finish and not go too long or get those season 3 surprise cancellations.
It's interesting to me because I also watched the first episode and I was like, oh, that was charming enough, but then I never continued. But then watching this trailer for the second season, I'm like, maybe I need to go back to that, because a lot of that was like establishing characters when they were like younger and all that stuff, whereas here is like fucking explosions and they got feelings and they're shooting guns at each other and using those special powers and yelling and screaming and exploding stuff.
And for like being a mix of like CG 3D with what seems like some amount of 2D. I think it looks like there's some amount of 2D animating on top of it. Like it seems like there's a lot of care. Mm-hmm. Sometimes it feels like shows will be in 3D because it's just cheaper or easier, and this doesn't look cheap or easy, I guess.
No, it's very striking.
Way to say it.
Yeah. And I think that's maybe what I missed in the first season of the first episode of the first season of Arcane, was that I never got to any of the big flashy action like we're seeing in this trailer with the characters using big explosions and all kinds of crazy magic and stuff. Because
all of my favorite characters, like that woman with purple hair and the cat guy.
All I know is the Jinx with the pigtails. Like that's like I don't know. This is a thing I saw online. It also reminded me of how good it looked. Like it does. Like I've seen a couple of different things kind of use the same art style, but I think that this one pulls it off better than any of the rest of them. So yeah,
it makes for a hell of a trailer.
Yeah. Absolutely. Let's see from there.
Like that smoke. You just saw that smoke at the end, right? With the final clip.
Another game
what the fuck is this?
About butt kicking ladies that you may have heard of.
Haven't we done this before?
It came out this week, Bryce. So there's like kind of a release trailer. So Lollipop Chainsaw Repop, which I think is one of the more cursed remasters that's ever existed, because it's like it was done without Suda51 or James Gunn involved. It was just like one of the directors, I think, on the project. And from what I can see, I don't know. It looks like, I don't know if it's just this is what Lollipop Chainsaw looked like, and I have fonder memories of what it was than this, but like this remaster kind of looks terrible. Like everybody kind of looks awful in it, but I don't know.
I guess I don't have enough of a comparison. I'm just shocked this exists. I'm shocked that they're like, I mean, this seems fine. These like these character action games were fine, right?
Yeah,
they're fine. Yeah, I
don't know. It also seems to me like now I kind of see it in action and I've seen some of the cutscenes. It seems like the sort of thing. I think they started out with I don't know if this is one of the ones where they start out with the idea of making a more complete remaster, of like redoing like the animations and the camera angles to make them a little bit more modern, and then people were like, no, we just want a simple up-res and then put it out. But I don't know, I don't think it looks particularly good.
I guess there's
Bryce has to sneeze, you guys.
I mean, I guess there's much as fans as there is fanfare for this, right? Like this seems It's sure, whatever, fucking lollipop. Like, the original Lollipop Chainsaw came out at a time where it might have only technically have been high definition. Like,
Right.
Yeah, get it full HD or something. Sure.
Yeah. I don't know. Anyway, from there we got some more Mortal Kombat 1. I think we talked about the Sector trailer last week. This week they put out the Noob Saibot gameplay trailer, along with a bunch of new stuff from the big story expansion, Chaos Reigns, that's coming out. Noob Saibot has never been my favorite Mortal Kombat character, but given for people who know, given who Noob Saibot is, it really does factor in an interesting way to me into this storyline that they've made, with this kind of that Havoc. There was like a stinger at the end of Mortal Kombat 1 that kind of set up like a story expansion, and so this is that, and looks a lot like a Mortal Kombat 1 game.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Is Mortal Kombat 1, do you feel like the life of that game is working particularly well?
No, not at all. Yeah. I think that I think they added in, I've said it before, but they added in the whole like kind of, you choose your character and then you have like a second character that does like with a dedicated button that does like assist moves, of a variety of different assist moves. I think that was a big mistake because it's like it's so baked in that you kind of got to use those assist moves, and I always it doesn't line up with my fighting game brain. My fighting game brain is character versus character, not character and character versus character and character. And then the big thing though that I think is worse than anything is that the offline grindy forever mode isn't very fun. The invasion mode is like a board game where you do like these kind of weird fights that have modifiers and stuff on them, and I don't think they're especially fun. And like the towers from Mortal Kombat 11 were way more fun, and I would just log on and play whatever the latest tower thing was. But
yeah, that it seems weird because it seems like a lot of what Mortal Kombat 1 is aimed at is at franchise fans, at seemingly righting the ship, resetting course. Yeah, interesting.
Yeah, I like the story. I like the single player a lot, and I probably will really like the Chaos Reigns story when it comes out as well, because I like the writing for Mortal Kombat and the characters and the cutscenes, and I think it's a very beautiful game. I just don't have as much fun playing it as I did the previous ones, so I don't want to just play it over and over and over again. So, but yeah.
Well, hopefully, chaos won't reign too long.
I'm in here for Injustice 3. I want Injustice 3, god damn it, like because Injustice 2 is amazing.
I'm gonna let this one peter out.
We had an update for Dead Island 2 is getting a new mode called Neighborhood Watch. That's a horde mode PvE thing that you can play with 4 players, where you have, I think they said like 5 days, like where during the day you're collecting equipment and then you're setting up traps and stuff, and then on the final night you get this big horde that comes in and you've got to fight them off, and you get like upgrades. There's like a few different classes of hunter that you can be, but you don't have all the crazy powers that you have in the main game. It's like a smaller subset of powers to deal with the zombies in this one. I'm amazed because I really liked Dead Island 2. Like, it was one of my favorite games from last year, and I like the DLC as well. But I don't.
Yeah. Is it? I mean, it's. Tell me more. Like, did you play it online? Did you play it solo?
I played it solo, and it was just a rollicking good time. Like, it was a very empowering game. They did a thing with the zombies where they literally like modeled like a clothing layer and a skin layer and a muscle layer and a bone layer, and they used them to kind of deform them. When you would hit them, it would break off more of those layers so that they had like very gory damage to them. And it's all in LA, and you go to these different areas and you do missions for people, and it was just a very empowering game. It was a great it was fun. It was very fun. It was very simple. It was very easy to get into. And there weren't any caveats like with the first one where it was like, oh, the weapons break too much, or like, oh, it always feels like you're not powerful enough. It was just like, nah, you get to get out there and fucking hack someone's brains out. And I never had a problem feeling really empowered. So, yeah.
Oh, and that's really interesting to hear. I'm okay.
Yeah.
Wow. Huh.
I guess you and I we've never talked about that.
We've
where I
never
was
talked
like,
about that island too.
yeah, I was watching it for a long time, and then Dam Buster, the people that made Homefront 2, notoriously like bad flop Homefront 2, they took it over and they basically redid it from the ground up in like 3 years. And I was like, ooh, I don't know. And then I played it, and I was like, this is fun. This is great. I love it. So,
okay.
Yep.
That island too.
Yep. I think it's been on like some of the other stuff. Anyway, that's coming October 22nd. That mode is coming. So let's see. Speaking of DLC, we got a release date for the third DLC for Remnant 2, along with a brand new mode. I don't think this is a mode that, Bryce, you're going to play, but they're putting a boss rush mode into Remnant 2 where you just fight the bosses, which was not my favorite part of the game by any
part of that game at all.
Stretch. But then the big thing was they had to delay the third DLC. They had said they wanted to have three story DLCs out in the first year. And they got 2 of them out. The third one is a couple of months out from the first year, but they did put out a release date for it, which is September. What is it? 24th. So the Dark Horizon, which I think is the one that's in the future, the kind of the alien planet biome. Yeah,
that's cool. If you haven't played Remnant 2, definitely give it a shot. I don't like Soulsy types games, and I would say this one is like Souls light. You know, there's no there's no like soul drop. What is it called? There's no like
you don't drop your
drop when you die. I think it's neat. I don't like those types of games, but I really enjoyed a lot of Remnant 2. Yeah,
really clever the way that they had different, like 3 or 4 different scenarios in each biome, so that when you would re-roll a new world, it's like, oh wait, this is completely different from what I saw before. So I wish more games would do that, where they were confident enough not to put everything on Front Street, like make you work for it a little bit to see all the different stuff.
And I think the grinding on that is interesting because there's like the re-rolling, and it's fascinating.
It's an interesting game.
Story stuff. Yeah.
Gosh. Interesting game. I think I skipped one there. Let's see. Oh, right. We could have skipped this one. So Ghost Runner 2 released their Endless Moto mode. Apparently there was like some kind of motorcycle mode in Ghost Runner 2 where you would go between levels on like a Tron light cycle through like a big light cycle course. And they've now created a mode where you can basically just kind of do that in like infinite. And so it's kind of Ghost Runner. It looks a lot to me like Beat Saber on a motorcycle. It reminds me of Beat Saber on a motorcycle.
I see that. This looks, the first person view is very crazy because it's a motorcycle, so you're also like tilting and rotating with it. Wow.
But then you can also like you jump off your motorcycle and then like grapple back to it. So there's like places where you have to jump off of it to get through certain types of things. You also have guns. I don't know. I didn't play this far in Ghost Runner 2 to know.
Me either. That's okay. That's cool.
Yeah. And that's out now. So, speaking of something that is out now, Satisfactory went into 1.0. Which I played a million years ago when it was an Epic Games exclusive. Have you ever played one of these like set up the factory style games? Yeah.
Oh, I love them. Oh my god, Shapes and Shapes 2, which just came out. I'm excited to try Satisfactory 1.0. And that is a game that like really has come a long way over the years. It is. It's weird because I'm sure they're going to keep updating it and have more things, but it kind of feels like a congratulatory moment for a game launch instead of like a graduation almost moment, right? because the game's come a long way and now it's like in a good place. This is really solid.
I need to reinstall it and see if I can kind of get into it. But they also had a little teaser at the end of it where they're looking at the conveyor belt, and I think they announced that they're going to be putting it on consoles, so that the conveyor belt has like console controllers coming down it, and then it ends with a thing saying like, we're working on it. Basically, now that it's in 1.0, we're looking at porting it to consoles soon. Is all they say.
Yeah.
So
okay, good. Good for them.
And they also had a huge, like, you can see the Steam concurrent players, which I know is not like the best thing, but it just had a huge spike this week where it released, where it went from just like bam. So
deserved. Well deserved.
Let's see. We got the announcement of Potionomics Masterwork Edition for speaking of console releases, for the PlayStation 5. Potionomics was one of these, like, I'm opening a potion store game. And so you brew the potions, and there's like a whole mini game based on haggling over the price of the potions. But the main thing with Potionomics, if you've never seen it before, is that it's got some fucking bomb character designs. Like, they're very expressive, the main character, and kind of this whole group of like side characters. They're just very well animated, and they're very charming. Like most games, this game also has like a whole romance thing where you can romance various characters.
I was gonna talk about the Concord "you can't fuck 'em" thing. Yep. Nope. Okay. Yep. Okay. Great. No, this looks this looks. I mean, it kind of looks like the Arcane / Fortnite.
Oh, yeah.
It looks like if Arcane was Fortnite.
Mm-hmm. Arcane without all of the extra stuff to it, but
they make him kiss in the okay, yeah, okay. See, immediately PlayStation was like, no, apparently they're horny. They just need to fuck. We just need to make sure you can see them fuck. There's gonna be some fucking in
so
it.
your contingency is that was what failed. Concord failed because nobody was horny in the cast, or nobody was horny enough for the cast, or both.
I'll show you a tweet off the record.
Okay, fair enough. October 22nd is when that's coming out. I think that they did a bunch of updates to this on the PC. It's already out on the PC, but they're putting it out on consoles, and I'm like, yeah, great. I think Matt and I played it because he was also horny for all the Potionomics characters. So we got a little 4-minute sneak peek at the Plucky Squire, the game that Devolver's putting out. Can't wait for it. It's coming out the 16th, I believe, this week, basically, when this podcast comes out. It's coming out this week, where you play as the little character in the storybook, but then you can kind of like go out of the storybook into the environment where the storybook is, and you can go inside of like other media and do stuff. So they had a little quest where the character needs a bow, and they kind of go across this desk with the end result of kind of going to like a little magic card to then negotiate with the character on the magic card to try to see about getting their bow. And you kind of go.
This is cute.
Yeah. Have you not seen this one before?
I kind of knew it was on the way out. But this looks cute, and it's doing the like 2D, 3D. It's almost like Mario Odyssey vibes,
or like and kind of Paper Mario too, where you kind of go in between the different things. Yeah, I like the fact that also it looks like when you get to the end of this, there's like when they finally get to this like magic card and they go into it, the character in the magic card is rendered in that style, and they have kind of like a little RPG fight between them. And then they also have a thing when they come back where when the main character has the bow, they're rendered as kind of
like like he's super buff.
Yeah. And then it's like a little mini game where you're doing like a little shooting gallery with the bow to kill these little mosquitoes. So pretty good stuff.
That seems fun.
Yeah. September 17th is when that's coming out. So boom. This one took me a little by surprise, and this may be my nostalgia talking, but they just put out an announcement trailer for a new Carmen Sandiego game. That's a name I've not heard in quite some time. But it's weird. You're playing as Carmen Sandiego. You're not catching Carmen Sandiego. You're being Carmen Sandiego and catching other thieves. And it's got all kinds of little like mini games where you're traveling around the world, but you're doing little deduction games. But there's also little like spy gadgets and stuff.
Oh,
I don't
okay.
know.
This I'll say this is not too far out of left field, if only because I'm watching this because I'm trying to get a sense of it. Netflix has a Carmen Sandiego series that came out a few years ago.
Right.
And it was like a celebrity actress doing the voice, and so they were going to have her be Carmen Sandiego in the live action one. And so I'm assuming that this is like kind of, I don't think that they're using the same likeness, and I wouldn't guess that they're using the same voice. Oh, this is Games Loft. Oh, but Netflix games. So like, who knows? But so I think this is in that show. It is about it. From Carmen Sandiego's perspective, and then she's like trying to go to villain school or something. It's she becomes the protagonist.
Okay.
Even though she is kind of a bad guy, but she's doing it for the right reasons.
Yeah.
Oh, because she doesn't want to kill. That's the thing. She's raised in villain school, and at the end they teach you to kill, but she doesn't want to kill. She just wants to do. She's chaotic good. She doesn't kill.
I just wish they would make a full game that was like
Me explaining it.
No, I was gonna say, well, I wish they would make a game that was like the show, the Rockapella show, the game show from back in the old days.
Get the old game. You could play the old game on archive.org, I'm sure.
That's true.
Because that's what that old game was. That's just a logic game.
That was one of the best edutainment games out there, man. You got to learn about the world, but you also got to catch Carmen Sandiego. She's a sexy lady in a red trench coat, man. Like, talk about character design. Carmen Sandiego's
even today. I gotta say, I think that new Carmen Sandiego series that they did, at least the bits, the good portion of it that I saw was good.
Yeah,
like, it's good. Like, it's good.
Yeah,
I don't know, I think it's good.
Let's see. From Carmen Sandiego, speaking of retro stuff, this was a very strange one. Sunsoft put out this retro game collection. Bryce, these are 3 games I have never heard of in my entire life. I'm assuming they were Japan-only games, and they are... Hold on, because one of these has a name that's so long, I can't possibly remember it. So, The Wing of Medulla, okay. Ripple Island, and... Sure. Firework Thrower Kantaro's 53 Stations of Tokaido.
That classic.
That old classic.
That old gem.
And they're...
who could forget? It looks... Oh.
There's some old 8-bit games. Some of them look like they're a little bit more adventure-y. Some look a little more platformy. They all have... the full treatment where you can rewind and you can do save states, and there's like a little gallery full of art. And you can play these games. I'm not sure. It's possible that maybe these were like huge. Like sometimes I get into this thing with like Amiga games where I'm like, I have no idea what this is. And people are like, oh, every French teenager played this Amiga game back in 1992 or whatever. But
sure. Which is like total, yeah. I mean, these look, yeah. I wonder if there's that adventure game, whichever one that adventure game is.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of want to see that. Okay, that's fun. It's cool to see games kind of get remastered and have a way to relive like this. I always think it's cool. Like, I don't know. We were talking about games being delisted earlier, and like. It's cool when it's like a retro game like this versus a game that's not very old being remastered or re-released. Like
Lollipop Chainsaw.
Like Lollipop Chainsaw. It is a 12-year-old game that it's almost vintage, but yeah.
Let's see. We also got the this is weird. Have you ever played this franchise 8-Bit Adventures? As soon as I could tell, this is like a JRPG RPG Maker game, yeah. But apparently, it's a really well regarded one, and they're putting the second one out on the. This is specifically on the PS5, PS4. I learned that this actually came out on Steam last year, but from everything that I've seen, it seems like. All the reviews are very positive, and that like it also seems like they did a lot of pixel sprite work of making like these really kind of cool looking fights and like little character portraits that come up with little animations for special attacks and team up attacks and stuff like that. So
yeah,
I'm not sure.
It looks like the ideal of a game that would potentially be made in something like RPG Maker,
right?
Where like if you've ever used those tools, you can do a lot with them. You can make them look exactly like this, where there's a lot of custom stuff and handmade assets where it's not like, yeah, this looks really cool. I've never heard of either this or the previous game though.
Yeah. And it was coming out on October 16th on the consoles. Maybe give it a shot.
Maybe give it a shot.
We also got.
I was not mocking you, by the way. I don't know what I was doing there.
I am here to be mocked, Bryce. I am here for it. We also got a gameplay overview trailer for this Beyond Galaxy Land, which is a game that I've been really interested in, where you play as like a regular guy that like gets kind of shanghaied from Earth to space in the middle of the night, but then it turns out that the Earth is destroyed, and then you're put in this like it's like a sanctuary.
The guy likes sandwiches a lot.
There's a hamster with a rocket launcher, which is a very Hitchhiker's Guide. But it turns out that you're like the force destroyed the Earth, and you're like in this sanctuary for aliens whose worlds have been destroyed. But then you decide I'm going to go out on an adventure, and so it's kind of a turn-based RPG where you hook up with a bunch of people. One thing I didn't know that this trailer told me was that you can catch just about every monster in the game and then use them for like buffs and summons and stuff like that, including bosses. Apparently you can like grab bosses and then use them as like ultimates later on in the game. They also said some magic words for Jeff, which was, this is an RPG, but we've tried to eliminate all grinding by basically creating this bespoke system where all of the encounters are just meaningful and you don't have to go and crank around somewhere in order to get strong enough. It's
an adventure game with combat.
Yes.
Okay. Oh, yeah. Okay.
With the kind of JRPG elements to it. So,
yeah. This is super cool. I have had this on my radar for a little bit, and I think I did not look at a trailer, or maybe I only looked at like a teaser or something. But this looks really cool. I think there have been a lot of like really interesting games like this, like kind of well, maybe not on the slide, but I don't know. Yeah, this 2.5D adventure game. I'm just excited about it, and I'm trying not to like. Is it really exactly the story of? Is it exactly Hitchhiker's Guide though? I won't know if it is exactly Hitchhiker's Guide though.
I don't think so, but close. I don't know. Maybe in the vein of, maybe tangentially related to Distant Cousin.
You know, it's all about what you do after it. It's all about what you do after the Earth explodes.
Yeah. Anyway, that's coming out. That's one also is coming out very soon.
This week, next week, something like that?
I think oh God, does this not have a? Where is it? Beyond Galaxy Land. Let's just check the Steam. No, get out of here. Screw off, Google.
I know your location.
I
want to say it's like...
It's very soon. It's very soon.
My guess is going to be this week.
The 24th. So I think not this week, but the week after. Very close.
Very close. Very close. Very cool. Very cool. Very close.
I don't know why I put this in here. This is a trailer for this game called Sand. I don't know. It seems kind of interesting where it's like this multiplayer online thing where you're constructing these giant like walking fortresses with a bunch of guns on them and then going out in multiplayer and like driving them around a desert, then trying to blow up other people's big walking fortresses with guns all over them.
Sorry, you're confused why you put this on the lineup?
I don't know. Like yes, I am. I don't know. It reminds me of, what was that? The Mortal Engines or whatever, where the cities drive around and eat each other.
You're going to base this game's trailer on a movie that you probably didn't see.
I didn't see it. I didn't see it.
I've at least seeing the big mechs kind of fight each other makes me think that this would be a couch like co-op game, but now that I'm looking at it, this looks like a single player game.
I don't know. I got the impression that it was going to be like an online game. Maybe it's because there was like, wasn't there another game where it was like you built like airships and then you would go do PvP with like your crew versus another crew online with giant like bespoke airships that you made, and then you would go attack each other. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know what this is, but now they're saying there's a beta, so it does. So maybe there is an online or a multi. What a, huh? Okay, sure.
Yeah, go sign up for the
Sand.
beta of Sand, I guess.
Sand.
Let's see. We got a big gameplay thing for the Eternal Life of Goldman, which was something I think I saw at the I think actually it was Gamescom where they revealed it, and it's like a very kind of hand animated. It reminds me a lot of the old DuckTales side scroller game, because the main character has a like a cane that they pogo on, a lot like Scrooge McDuck does. So they put out like an 8-minute trailer showing this off. I had to just kind of skip through it because the way the person who was doing this quote unquote demo was like, this looks like a really cool game, but they were so timid
at the visuals of the game.
No, they're very timid. Watch them try to jump on this sloth guy, where they get real, like they go to do it and then they jump over him, and
we get to luxuriate on those fires, Jeff. Look
I don't know.
at that sunset. It's timed. Look at those balloons needed to come in at the right moment. We can't just have all this proc at the same time, skipping all these guys.
No, I don't know.
It's a demo.
I think it looks really interesting, but I couldn't watch it. I understand now how people feel when they watch me play video games. But no, there was an upgrade. It was interesting. Like the first upgrade that they got was like a curved handle for the cane, and then that allowed them to jump on these little rings to be able to go between like these little balloons, right, to progress. But then later on, I saw that they got like a really springy cane, because you could swap it out on the fly, and then they got to a place that had spikes in the ceiling, so they had to get like the smaller spring in order to be able to kind of get through that area. I don't know. It's got really nice fluid hand animation, which I appreciate quite a bit. I don't know.
Yeah, the animation is especially looks nice. I wonder. I would love to know like how much of this is 3D versus hand drawn, because it looks like it could be, but I'm watching it through your screen share. Like,
I can say it looks like most of it's 2D to me,
yeah.
or very well hidden 3D. So,
have you seen Guilty Gear? They make that shit look good now.
That's true, but Arc makes it look good. Not everybody can do that. This is so strange. I saw this today. This is a teaser for Space Adventure Cobra: The Awakening. Do you know what Space Adventure Cobra is?
Like G.I. Joe Cobra?
No, it's an anime, and it's this blonde guy with like a red jumpsuit. And I think the reason I know it is because there's a song from Matthew Sweet back in the 90s called Girlfriend, and like the video for it was just footage of that anime with then like it would go to Matthew Sweet singing the song, and then it would go back to footage of the anime, and it was like, and so this looks like a really simple like kind of side-scrolling action game based on this character.
Yeah.
But I was just kind of struck because it's just like, oh, I haven't thought about that character in a long time. But sometimes Drunk Jeff likes to watch that music video, so it hasn't completely left my mind.
For like for a game that's like leaning into its franchise roots.
Yeah.
The character on screen when you're playing looks really small.
Yes, very, very small, like a teeny
Really
tiny little
tiny.
guy. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's an interesting a bit of dysphoria.
Yeah. I don't know. It's just a teaser right now. It says come in 2025. We'll see.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, 2025.
Well, things that are out. Speaking of things that are out right now, we got the launch trailer for I Am Your Beast, which is a game I haven't decided. There's so many things that are out right now. This is the latest game from Strange Scaffold, which is Xavier Nelson's thing. He's the guy that did El Paso Elsewhere. Do you remember that from last year?
Yeah.
He also made a game called Clickleding. I think I made you watch the trailer for Clickleding.
I've been on the internet. I know.
This is like this very. It's basically like the best way to describe this is what if Super Hot didn't slow down when you were playing it, and you just had to play it kind of in a Hotline Miami frantic like go 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 type of thing. It's not super long, and it's got some replay value for like there's sub objectives that you could choose to do. The big thing is it's all of this guy's games are made like very inexpensively, so they have a story, but the parts of this trailer where you're seeing this just text on a screen, so they'll just show like a screen and then have people talk, and then they put the text up over that. And it's the
kind
story.
Like, what is it? The 30 Flights of Loving guy. He does that too.
Oh yeah,
it's a full screen. Yeah.
And
jazz punk. Yeah. Okay. Eddie, sorry. Yeah.
The thing I really like about it is the story of it is that you play as like a Jason Bourne kind of like special operative who's like retired in the woods, and then your commander calls you up and is like, "I need you back for one last job," and you're just like, "No." And he's like, "Well, if you don't come in, I'm going to send the team after you." And you're like, "Okay." And then they just do. And then they do. And then you just kill all of them in the woods like Rambo meets Super Hot. So, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm into it.
Yeah. Coming to the App Store.
It's also $17 on Steam. Like, it's not even the full $20. Like, it's very affordable. So,
cool. That's out now?
That's out now. Yeah, it came out last week. We got a new release date for Zoocosis, which I'm super into. If you haven't seen this, Bryce, you play as a zookeeper in this zoo, but then the animals in the zoo have become infected with these weird parasites, like these little guys that they're showing. I don't think they've shown them before, but then they turn into like monster animals. And so and as the zookeeper, you have to like...
Is it a horror game?
Yes.
Or is it like a simulation? Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, sort of. Like you play as a zookeeper. It's kind of got some of that like Five Nights. Oh, wait. Fuck off with these spiders.
But you're not like...
Oh, yes.
It's like a... pens. Like...
That's like what the...
Fences. Oh.
Giraffe.
Spider giraffe, sure, yeah.
They have like the kangaroos, like their pouches turn into giant mouths, and so and apparently when this happens, you can tranquilize them and then like cure them of these parasites. But you also have to like be aware of which ones have the parasites, and there's like a whole feeding them and like taking care of them in this weird grungy unlicensed zoo thing.
Wait,
I don't know.
So so is it a simulation game or is it a horror narrative game?
I think it's both. I think it's a horror simulation with some narrative elements to it. So you do have to kind of go through these chores of like feeding the animals and like, trying to make sure that they're okay. But then by the same token, they'll turn murderous and then come at you. And then you got to like tranquilize them and try to separate them from the rest so they don't get, infected and stuff like that. So it's kind of a strange concept, but I appreciate how unique it is.
Yeah, it seems like a cool concept. And I like that it's not just like, I don't know, SCP. You could just say it's SCP and just be done with it. But it seems neat. The animal designs are really nice. The mutants. Yeah. I'm looking at this and like, yeah, I don't know. Okay, I'll look into it.
But that's coming out. It like the thing is that it was going to be coming out. I had it on the schedule for this month because it was going to be coming out like the 21st or whatever. But it's September 30th now, so it's coming out right at the end of the month.
Okay. Well, there we go.
All right, time to wrap it up with a few quick things. Balatro is coming out on mobile. I love Balatro. I even like the trailer for this because it's the Joker telling you that Balatro is coming to mobile. They keep putting up different Balatro title cards for it that eventually mutate into like the stock for the Joker going up and like everybody's productivity going down because they're all playing Balatro on their phones.
Yeah, Balatro's great.
Mm-hmm.
We love Balatro.
And it's coming.
Do we love Balatro?
Oh no, I love it. I do love it. I do love Balatro. It's already on the. Oh, do you have it because you're on the Apple Arcade? It's already out on Apple Arcade.
I have it on Steam, but
okay.
But it is weird that it's going to be a $10 purchase or it's going to be on Apple Arcade, which is not something they've done. Which is not something that they've done with Apple Arcade.
Oh, okay. Oh yeah, this is weird. Elder Scrolls has a mobile game called Elder Scrolls Castles that's kind of like a it's like Fallout Shelter. Yeah, except the thing is that the art style is so different than Skyrim or Elder Scrolls. It's very Simsy, whereas like Fallout Shelter has very similar. Maybe it's because Skyrim doesn't have as strong of an art style as like Fallout does, but it's a very
With Fallout, they can use the Pip-Boy style and just lean 100% into that.
Whereas like some of this, it just looks like generic fantasy simulator. So,
okay. So this is out now. This is a new Elder Scrolls mobile game then?
Yes, and it is. I believe it is out now. I believe this was like the launch trailer for it. So that it's on Google Play and the App Store. So there you go. A lot of mobile stuff. There was a copyright for Yakuza Wars, and people were unsure what that was. And it looks like it's been kind of leaked from like a Chinese Facebook site that it's just going to be like a phone gotcha battler type game, and they're probably going to find out more about it at Tokyo Game Show, which is in like a week and a half. So
level 1 Kiryu, level 99 Goro. Just do all those. Yeah, just do all those same. Steal all those weird mobile ads, but make it Kiryu and Goro.
Oh God, like the ones where like
over at each other and hammering each other like briefcases full of cash and.
I was thinking if it was the ones where it's like, the guy tries to pull the sword out for the lady and then falls down, and it's like, click on these numbers in the right order. Why did he click on 77 before 90 or 99 before 77?
Oh yeah. Okay, sure. I mean, right.
We also found out that almost certainly Tokyo Game Show is going to have Power World for the PlayStation on it. This is from like a literal schedule that got posted.
Isn't it already on PlayStation?
Nope. Nope. Xbox and PC only right now. So, cool. But yeah, it's on there. It's listed in the schedule, and then it's also listed with a little dot of the PS5. This is not conclusive, but probably. I mean, it would be strange to me if they didn't do that. So, I mean,
their whole thing was that they're like a super small team, so I'm not surprised that they're avoiding over ramping up. Hiring on 1 billion people to pump out a port really fast. If it's like the small team, like still handling it, that's cool.
Oxenfree is being removed from itch.io. This probably has to do with their Netflix deal, but the strange thing about this is like Oxenfree has already been delisted, but when I say removed, if you bought it, it's going to be removed from your library entirely. Like you will no longer be able to download it from itch.io. So I don't know if this is some rights issue, but it's not a good precedent.
This is Netflix.
Yeah.
Like this is sorry, it's Netflix. Netflix bought the company that's bought the studio.
Mm-hmm.
Presumably they bought the rights to the game. So they're gonna only offer ways of you playing their games where you sign into Netflix first. And if it's on desktop, that's what they're going after next. Because with mobile, right, it's easy for them to, because for mobile, they have to spin up their own Netflix version of it. Mm. But, for that, I understand it. It sucks.
That's bad.
The Netflix gaming stuff is really strange. I think they have a good idea, but I don't. The way that they're doing it, that maybe there's something I don't know but they're doing everything really strange there.
And Netflix does everything strange. The stuff they renew, the stuff they don't renew. It's always fucking weird shit with Netflix. You're like, I don't
bring back the OA.
I don't get it. Well, here's some good news. Konami said that they're taking their time with the Metal Gear Volume 2 collection because of it was in an interview of them saying like they saw how the first one launched and it had all the problems and stuff, and so they're trying to make sure that the ports for the next collection are very solid when they come out, so as not to run into the same kind of PR problems they had with the first one. So
okay. Yes. You're
Why
right.
Why is my
game should be good.
What's the text on my screen is wiggling? Is it wiggling for you?
Yeah,
Like the lines are just like
weird IGN
wiggling up and down.
guy.
Okay, all right.
Oh look, yeah, because that boop boop boop. Guess the game. Guess the game. Guess the game. Guess the game.
All right, fair
Get
enough.
off this website, please. It's
Yes.
the worst. It's fucking off.
Analog Pocket is putting out a short run of colors that are all the colors of the original Game Boy Color. So, and they're $2.49 a piece, and they're on sale. They're probably all sold out by the time you hear this, but they're basically all the colors that you would get the original Game Boy Color in, which is pretty cool.
Nice. Very cool.
Yep.
That thing's a cool thing.
I don't care about that. Yeah, let's wrap it up. There's a couple of fun things.
Let's make it fun. You know, I need just a little gobstopper of fun here at the end of the podcast.
Okay. Well, I got you covered. Somebody on the Diablo 4 public test server found a way to basically make the barbarian do infinity damage. This is probably not
infinity.
Yeah, like let's see if I can
What
get
does
a.
that mean?
Well,
What does that mean, infinity? You can't. No, they make no. The whole, now hold on, because now. Now look, I'm just a smart sort of gentleman, but
Yeah.
I know that this thing's just a big calculator.
see,
How do you
right,
tell me there's a number I can't calculate?
see right there. See these infinity symbols, like right there and right here and right there.
What the fuck? They put infinity symbols in the goddamn game?
Yep. So apparently, what happened was this is on their public test server. Probably will never make it to the full thing, right? But what happened was that if you re-rolled like this certain piece of equipment for the barbarian, it would create this feedback loop where when they did their spin, you do the spin, it would do the damage, it would do a multiplier of the damage, but then when it would also trigger another spin to happen when it like at the same time, and then it would just go around in this loop that was doing it over and over and over again, and so the numbers would then go up so high. Like this video here, this is from Rob2628. The numbers are going so high that eventually they just turn into infinity symbols.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah,
and my guess would be that they're seeing this on the test server for this exact reason, because maybe they have some. I'm trying to think of like what you would do, why you would do that, unless at some point you're like stopping doing the calculations, right? At some point,
like there's an upper there's an upper limit, and it hits the limit, and then it's just like fuck it.
There's a problem. I'm gonna send a bug report. Just show an infinity symbol. Let's move on to the next. Yeah. Okay. Interesting.
Yeah, but this is like one of the hardest dungeons apparently in the game, and it's just
and he's doing 20 million damage. No, is that billion? Yeah. That's a quad.
That was
that's 83 billion.
83 billion damage. Yeah, it hasn't maxed out yet, but just like what somebody in the article where I saw this from said that like it turns it from damage into basically just like an eraser. Like you're just erasing enemies from the map. So
it looks like he's playing fucking Katamari right now. He's like just spinning, going, not really doing any. I mean, he's spinning.
Yep. Just spinning on top of people, and they all die in one hit instantly because you're doing so much goddamn damage that's just like. Yeah, it's kind of interesting. Here's another interesting thing. There's a guy on the internet. What is this? James Brown, who's a Weta Workshop guy who likes to do different like weird tech things, and he did a thing where he took a. I think did you guys do this at one point on one of the shows where you do like a spinning disc and then you project like light through it? It creates kind of like a 3D voxel field of pixels that you could then like turn on and turn off. And and he basically got Voxel Doom running in this 3D space so the voxel version, so that it has all the pixels or all the objects that you need, and then kind of like put it together running. And it's very low resolution because obviously like a DIY kind of.
I don't know why I'm turning my head at my screen. Like that's gonna change the angle. Wow. Okay. Interesting.
Yeah.
Huh. Yeah. We've friends of ours have worked on not dissimilar like volumetric display ideas in the far past now.
Yeah.
that's neat. I mean, yeah, anything you're gonna run Doom on the little thing that run on bike rims for sure. Go for it.
Right.
Like it's got to run on everything.
I feel like Doom is especially getting like some love these days. I mean, those recent re-releases have just kind of brought it back into the foreground, but it's interesting.
This isn't Doom. This is a 3D like reinterpretation of Doom.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, it's Doom, but it's voxel Doom. It's Doom where they've replaced all the characters with the voxel construction so that they're all 3D because the levels are still 3D.
Right. Oh yes. Yeah. Or yeah. Yeah. That's wow.
It's kind of crazy looking though.
Doom is kind of eternal.
Yeah. Oh. And last but not least, let's take a quick shot at that Minecraft movie because somebody redid the entire trailer inside of Minecraft and it kind of works a lot better.
Wow.
Yeah. It's just basically the entire Minecraft trailer shot for shot, but with Minecraft characters inside of Minecraft with some extra shading filters and things added onto it and all the exact same soundtrack stuff. I don't know. Did you have any thoughts on that Minecraft movie trailer before we finish up here, Bryce?
I just realized that like that Minecraft movie when it does come, the reason they didn't do it in Minecraft is because the next generation of teenagers will be remaking that movie inside of Minecraft for like high school projects forever. Like that's like the B movie, but it's like fits into 12 megabytes, so I can upload the whole thing onto Discord.
Right.
Or like Charlie XCX's Brat, but it speeds up every time she says bumping that. Like they're gonna do that with that fucking weird, awful Minecraft movie because they chose not to make it look like this. They could have made it look like this really nice thing, but they're gonna let the next generation of teenagers build all of their Blender experience on remaking the Minecraft movie for YouTube channels.
How long is it before it's like it's the Minecraft movie but a different animator every 12 seconds?
Oh yeah, the collab,
the entire
the collaboration.
Yeah.
Oh, that'll be because that's got to be the first thing because that'll be the quickest thing.
Right. Because everybody could be working on it simultaneously. Yeah. And that's it.
It's gonna be so fun. You're gonna have plenty of segments for the end of the show, though, for the next few years.
Oh yeah, yeah. I think we finished out the person playing Elden Ring on an X arc, and we're now on to the Minecraft trailer, dunking on the Minecraft trailer arc. I think it was the Super Mario Brothers trailer there for a little while, but now it's the Minecraft trailer. So
no, this was gonna be big.
Yeah. All right, that's it, everybody. Bryce, do you want to tell them where they can find you when you're not over here helping me run down all these newses?
Yeah, I do a Marbles Racing League. We just wrapped up our 9th season. Our 10th season will be starting soon. If you want more information, check out our website, marbles.win. Get on the email list or join the Discord. You can get a calendar that you can Google. Actually a Google Calendar thing. You can get. We're also on Instagram. Marbles.win is also an Instagram handle, so check us out there. We've got tons of clips to give you a taste of what the Marbles action looks like, and yeah, it's a blast. So check us out there. Thank you.
Cool. And patreon.com/RageSelect.
Oh, yeah.
Now with way more videos on it because I finally started posting the videos on Patreon, doing the back catalog one a day, every day. And that means that we're in like the first 5 weeks, 8 weeks of RageSelect.
Why? What?
What do you mean?
Talk about this.
Oh,
what?
no. This podcast is too long already. I will talk about it with you later on. All right, that's it, everybody. Get out of my house. Bye.